pulled up the definition. It's something like when something's established. No, so when a character knows something when they have no reference for it, or when they don't know something when they did have a reference for it, is one of the most like baseline plot holes you can get. Or yeah, it's basically something happening when the rules of the universe have told you that it can't happen. It's just like a base contradiction, but
a base contradiction would be a good way to say it. A contradiction within an established character or rule of the universe or the lore.
And this is the thing, if we had a scene in Star Wars where there were no sounds from the explosions and stuff, we would be like, huh, weird. They always usually have sounds. But it would be, if you called that a plot hole, it would be like, well, like, I suppose it's an inconsistency, but it doesn't matter whatsoever. But then if you have...
It doesn't affect the plot unless somebody is saying, oh, I can't hear it, so therefore I can take this action.
Yeah. But then if you have a character like Finn saying, they tracked us through light speed, that's impossible. And then a scene later says, I know about the hyperspace tracker, I mopped outside it. It's like, wait,
yeah, that
what?
is a plot.
So he should have warned them all that they had a tracker because he knew that would have changed the plot.
Is it inconsistency within the plot line? I mean, that's putting it as simple as it is.
Yeah, that's probably where it comes from as a definition.
Yeah.
If you have to follow it. If you set something up, you have to obey it.
But we're gonna...
I can't wait to hear his explanation of what a plot hole is.
It's probably
obviously not a dog.
If he contradicts anything we've said, I'd be surprised. I'm pretty sure he goes with the standard.
And all those plot holes people complain about?
Oh god, in black and white. Close up black and white. They don't matter.
Hey man, it's a style. Leave him alone.
They don't actually matter. So, that is a plot hole.
His hairline's gone back even more than mine.
Keep the cap on, buddy.
Oh,
It's
that's
strange
so
that he
mean.
still
You can't make fun of somebody's baldingness. I mean, you can. But I was just going to say, like, they don't matter. It's like, alright, let's make sure we remember that. He's just said they don't matter. But if he brings up at any point, in any way, that they can matter or are valid, just keep that in mind.
People's definitions vary, but here's the generally accepted one.
He says they vary in definition after saying people don't know the definition. Nice job.
That I use. A plot hole.
And he defines this one as the one he uses rather than the one from the dictionary. It's like, come on, try harder.
Is a point in which a story breaks a previously established rule about its own universe.
There you go.
Basically, it's when a story contradicts itself.
There you go.
Okay. So here's what are not plot holes.
So,
I don't want to do it anymore.
Something that happens off screen
so let me,
can be a plot hole.
yeah, I know. Let me just give you an example that's not in this video and just not even in a film. You just have a character who's like 5 foot tall, and then 2 scenes later you see him and he's just 7 foot tall, and you're like, what the hell? And then someone goes, he could have had surgery between then to lengthen his legs.
Or if you have a crippled character, right, and they have to get somewhere, and after a scene transition, they're there with everyone else. It's like, how'd you get here? It's like, oh, I learned how to. Oh, my legs healed.
And then they broke again.
The thing is,
I ran so fast that my legs just broke again.
Yeah, my legs were unused to the effort of walking, and so they broke. I flew too close to the proverbial sun, and I
So,
broke
yeah.
my legs.
What we're learning here is that it matters about context. It's not as simple as something happens off screen is not a plot hole. It
They
matters
can
what the
happen on
context
screen,
is.
they
Yeah.
have to.
The thing he's gonna do is he's going to say something along the lines of like, it happened off. Just because he didn't show it doesn't mean it's a plot hole. And he's gonna apply it to something that.
We can conveniently explain it away.
Dude, he applies
it's
it
just
to
him
the
writing
most...
the movies for us.
No, he doesn't even do that.
directors.
He goes for the simplest possible one that no one would ever disagree with. I'll let you see it.
In The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh wait, this guy's gonna raise an actual one, and he's gonna bat it down, and then he's gonna compare it to one that is not the same as whatsoever.
We never see how Batman gets back to Gotham City. That's
That's an actual issue.
Yeah, so just to cover that quickly, because
Kidding me?
I actually watched
That's
the
an
film.
actual problem.
I watched it recently with a friend of mine called Mel, because we were invested in seeing if it was as bad as we remember, and I still think that Dark Knight Rises is pretty awful, and that is a major one. Bruce Wayne
It is.
bankrupt, and he's stored in some distant hole in the ground in some foreign gets to the top of it, and then the next time we see him, he's like healthy and ready to fight as Batman in Gotham, and you're like, wait.
And it's only like a day later. Why? How can you possibly listen to that?
Because it happened off screen.
It happened off screen.
He found a jet that was abandoned, and he flew. He found an abandoned jet. He flew in the jet, and then he got back to the city with he used a parachute.
No, it's
See,
in the
I can explain it away, and it doesn't break the laws of physics.
It's in the novelization. You guys just refuse to read because you're idiots.
Yeah, but it's in the DC universe, so Superman obviously picked them up and dropped them off in Gotham.
That's true. Yeah.
Shit.
You don't get to being Bruce Wayne without making a few connections. Time to call in a few favors.
So yeah, that one's an actual one, and look at the one that he references as an example of how it can happen off screen, guys. Don't complain.
One of the earliest cinematic developments was the concept of montage. The idea is that when two images are presented in sequence, the audience understands that they occur chronologically and will mentally fill in the time between scenes. So, for instance, if a person is in one location and the next scene they're in another location, we understand that in between scenes they traveled between the locations.
So guys,
Wow, this guy's a fucking idiot.
it is so like yes, we understand that.
Muller, can you answer me a question?
Okay.
Because I'm really afraid to know the answer, but I feel like I have to.
Why is he in an alley?
Well, that is a question, but
I assume that he walked there in between scenes.
my question was going to be, does he have $9,000 of Patreon and he only makes one video a month?
I don't think he's as bad as Bach Brown, but he's.
I don't know. I think he's kind of worse.
Oh,
Just
I
based
mean,
on his 2 minutes
what I
so
meant
far.
is I don't think he makes as much money, so it's not as terrible in terms of content.
Oh, okay.
But I don't actually know if he even has Patreon. I don't really know much about it.
It's no biggie, doesn't matter.
But
Because that's fucking retarded what he just said, regardless of.
yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys even need us to explain why what he just said is a complete false equivalency? It's like saying, someone kicking you in the foot is the same as someone slamming a fucking sledgehammer on it.
Yeah, basically you can explain anything away. You can say, meanwhile, at this location, somebody that we just saw somewhere else is now here.
As they're saying in
This
chat,
came out today. Okay.
as they're saying in chat, it's about context. It's always about context. You can't just say, stuff can happen off screen, guys, go away. Next point. It's like, oh.
Every example is an individual.
All they needed to do in The Dark Knight Rises, by the way, was just have Bruce find a contact in a foreign country that he knew from his days as a training at blah blah blah. It would be convenient, but then it wouldn't be a plot hole. And then you get people being like, how do you know that didn't happen?
Oh my god.
They
I'm
had that
looking
in
at
one of the Tomb Raider movies. Like, I need a Jeep in Africa. Let me call up one of my old war buddies who owes me a favor.
As,
Like, okay, I guess.
well, as the famed Bilbo Baggins once said, it's about context. Like, that's what it's called.
Precious context.
That was right after Bilbo defeated Voldemort, on the bridge of Khazad-dûm, right?
So there is a friend of mine in
No, that was
there's a friend of mine in chat
Right,
who I
forgot about
asked to sort of try and advocate for the video as best he can, and he did say, would knowing how Bruce Wayne got there, however simple, would that have improved the movie?
Yes.
I think that you could have just
It would
applied
have
it to any.
improved that part of the movie, at
I was
least.
gonna say it doesn't necessarily have to improve it to be old an actual law, as in because this is the thing that people point out, right? Is like, is it a contradiction or is it simply a lack of information in which there could actually be an explanation? And
Well, they have to show that explanation because otherwise it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
well, I was gonna say it ruins the stakes because now he can teleport and generate resources as far as we can assume. So it's unnecessary breach of what would you call it? Like an investment from many viewers when all you need to do is a throwaway line at worst. Because he followed up with saying, wouldn't it be a bit tedious to have an explanation like that in the climax? Well, you don't have to make it long. You can literally have a scene where Bruce walks into some kind of bazaar or wherever is near the place he was in, because it looked very distant from civilization. And then you find a way he gets a phone, and then he calls Alfred, or then he calls someone he knows, gets a pickup, and that's it. And the person on the phone could be like, "What do you need?" And then he's like, "We're gonna need and he says a bunch of numbers, so it implies that this is a thing he had set up. You just be like, "Oh, okay." 1 minute at most. Instead, we watch him poof into Gotham, and we're like, what? And that's the thing, Gotham's on lockdown as well. You remember? Like, nobody in or out, aside from resources across the bridge. So it's just like, oh, okay.
I know, he was able to get into Gotham, look perfectly fine, and he was able to make that big, stupid, burning bat symbol.
Yeah, it's a bit much, I'd say, to go into. And then, objectively speaking, is absolutely a gap. Whether or not it'll affect people's enjoyment, I guess we're living proof that actually happened, but it's obviously a possibility, I guess. But anyway, we will let him continue.
Movies tend to assume that the audience is reasonably intelligent, but I guess they're wrong. If movies showed us every single second that happened during the span of the story, they would be 40 hours long and
Yeah, people didn't ask you to show every single second. That's
nobody's asking.
Complete straw man.
Yeah. No one's asking for that.
Yeah, just find one person on the planet just so they wanted to watch Bruce Wayne take every step from that hole back to Gotham. Just find me that person.
Yeah. If he locates a car, we assume he can drive. You know,
How about we look at all the movies? Let's look at all the movies out there that don't have plot holes that aren't 40 hours long. Oh, well, you know, all of them, because there's no movie that's 40 hours long.
Some of them feel like it though.
Like, boy. You mean like this video?
When a character does something you wouldn't do?
Here we go. Here we go.
When a character does something you wouldn't do.
So, to give you some context on this, because I know where he's going with it, Just Right actually tweeted out after, it was a few days after the debate me and Wolf had with him, said something along the lines of, it was either him or Hello Greedo, but they said, it's so annoying that people basically look at Holdo's actions and they criticize it as like sort of something nobody would ever do when it's actually something they wouldn't do. And that she's a character and she can make her own decisions when they don't accept that all they're complaining about is that they wouldn't have made the decision. Which is like, wow, you know, like that's the justification you have to come up with to be able to sort of let the story run when you can just find the contradiction like I did with Just Right, where it's like, would you agree that Holdo puts the lives of the Resistance above anything else? And most people will say yes, because why the fuck wouldn't she? And you'd be like, so why did she let Poe almost kill everybody instead of just telling him the plan? Like,
well, she had a moment of insanity.
Yeah, that's what you have to go with. She's stupid, okay? And you don't accept that people can make stupid decisions, which is actually going to be the argument he makes here.
I am axing you. Did he have a moment of weakness?
The first legendary debate.
Disney fanatical Star Wars fan.
Disney fanatical universe. I remember being like, what does that mean?
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
And this is the other thing, by the way.
Fanatic here.
You know when you have an episode of The Simpsons where Homer does something stupid, you don't go, I would never have done that. It's like, oh no, Homer is stupid. That's his whole thing. He's a stereotype of the stupid American. That's supposed to be the joke. Just like all of them are stereotypes in The Simpsons, and yet Apu's is the only one that's offensive, apparently. But you then fast forward to something like Holdo, and it's got no establishment of being stupid, or petty, or idiotic, and yet she is. And so you're just like, okay, the audience feels a little bit confused about that one.
How
So is he saying-
immensely convenient.
Is he saying that every person who's implying that this is a plot hole wants a movie to be all the same characters?
Well,
Just one
kind of like
character, but like 10 of them?
he's saying that we're saying that we want these characters to behave as we would.
Yeah, so everyone would behave as we do, and therefore they would all have the exact same character.
In our 40-hour movies, everyone needs to behave exactly like we do. That's the movie that we're advocating for.
And this is
Like, no, I just advocate for characters that aren't retarded. That's all I want. It's like characters that can think for themselves, so I don't have to think for them.
Yeah, characters can make reasonable mistakes. That it doesn't mean that you have to basically resort to this character had a moment of complete random insanity,
They had to.
and that's totally not a plot hole.
That's what the guy argued with me and Wolf. He was like, Hux was arrogant and stupid. That's why he fired on nobody instead of everybody. It's like, okay.
He called him a boy. Don't you see how offensive that is?
And then he had to
I
double
am
back
axing you.
because we were like,
Oh, yeah.
why isn't he arrogantly chasing them later then? He's like, well, but wait, was that after when Snoke spoke to him? Like, yes, that was after. And he was like,
Was
oh.
that after the scene that I just completely made up?
Alright, have a look.
There are so many plot holes in A Quiet Place. Oh, it's such a great
Yes.
movie. I mean, like, why did they decide to have a baby?
Okay, see,
Exactly.
did you catch the follow-up bit? Oh, it's such a great movie because they're implying that the person who points out the plot holes says you're not allowed to like it, which, funnily enough, you did do earlier. I'm going to assume hyperbolically we allow people to like whatever they want.
It was hyperbolic, but I don't think it's a. Well, no, I know for a fact it's not a good movie, but you know.
That's the thing, the plot
You
holes
can
still
like
exist.
it. I like A Quiet Place, but I recognize that there are some serious problems with the movie, but you can still like the movie.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with liking the movie. I like that. I like A Quiet Place. I enjoyed that movie, but it has problems.
High five. So let's see what he's. Well, this is going to be difficult for you, man. I'm sorry.
Baby. And why didn't they just move to the waterfall? Oh, this is the one that really interests me. Movies are, for the most part, about human beings, or at least characters who think and act like human beings.
The Quiet Place is about human beings. That's why we're all fucking retarded.
Hey, man. Let him make his incredibly good argument, and then we can.
He doesn't have an argument.
Why were you recording this on a busy street?
I don't know. It's style.
With
Style
the
over
wires
substance.
and the long
Exactly the same as
I mean, this isn't like
Baker's philosophy.
this isn't a substantive criticism. This is a question about a style question. You have like a nice quiet studio, and I mean, like, isn't it
It's-
like hot in August?
People find it cool. You're just nitpicking. You're nitpicking and you're being rude. Okay.
I'm not saying he's wrong for I'm not saying he's wrong for it, even though the even though the tag on the pipe says my name. I'm not saying he's wrong. All I'm saying is that I don't really get what he's going for
Yeah,
with the alley shots and
He's going for street cred.
I assume it's supposed to feel flashy and back and forth and interesting. Like, it keeps you into. It's a bit like ADHD. It's just like boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, boom, boom.
Ah, the pipe does say your name. There we go.
Or about human beings, or at least characters who think and act like human beings. And you know what human beings are not? Logical. People are
Yes.
yeah, but on average, human beings are not fucking retarded,
Okay.
and their entire characters don't shift in an instant.
You know what?
Like, I'm sorry, maybe I don't want to be following a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing in this movie I'm supposed to be taking seriously. Maybe if this was Scary Movie 4, where you're supposed to be following a bunch
I
of
was about to
idiots.
say, that's a good point. The scary movie, there's stupid things happen because the characters are stupid, because they're parodying bad horror movies where people are just stupid for no reason. I mean, they parody good horror movies as well. I'm not saying they don't. But the problem is the statement, humans are always logical and humans are never logical, are both just stupid. Don't make those.
Yeah, when did we ever? Yeah, there's a way to have characters make reasonable mistakes, or to maybe make a bad call, but you can almost always justify it because people generally do things for reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's a wrong move, even if it's maybe a taking a different path, right? People have reasons for the things that they do. Humans don't really behave completely randomly.
What's a great thing?
You can use that as a complete and total excuse for anything that a character does. Basically the insanity defense. Your Honor, my client pleads temporary insanity.
And that's what they do with plenty of characters when they make either contradictory or downright retarded decisions that you just sit there like, how could they possibly have thought this? And the way to make a flawed character is to have a consistent sort of core, right? Where the best one I can think of off the top of my head is just Tywin Lannister's whole deal is pride. He feels pride in everything that he does. So it motivates him to push everything for his family forward and his image. And it pushes him to the point where he's super successful, gets super powerful, but it kills him, is the point, his pride. He doesn't actually, he's not concerned with the idea. I don't want to spoil it. I was about to say a bunch of things, and I was like, wait, there are probably some people who haven't seen season 4 of Game of Thrones. So what I'm saying is when characters make an error, it's usually related to something that I suppose is a huge part of their character. You could actually apply it to Cersei as well. She never would have thought that she rose somebody to power for herself in Game of Thrones. And ultimately, again, I don't want to spoil it. Do you follow what I'm saying? I'm trying to find another example, like within, Anakin search for power to save people, ultimately overreaches and fucking makes the mistake of doing a bunch of things that are just outright wrong, but motivated by a decision or power. The killing the kids thing is a little bit too far. I need to find some more examples. Just characters can do stupid stuff as long as it's implied that they think it's the right decision or they have a blind spot. I think that's the word I was looking for. Established blind spot.
Iron Man
absolutely. Cap would have an inability to trust that he needs to. I don't know. I was gonna say like he could never see wrong in Bucky, for example.
Establishment, I guess.
Yeah, like Captain America almost dies to Bucky because he just doesn't believe that should essentially stop him because he's just that invested in him, and that could have resulted in him dying. So
people are reacting to you saying Anakin killing kids is a little too far.
Okay, majorly too far. I was being hyperbolic. Well, what's the opposite of hyperbolic?
Are you kidding?
He just goes to other places of the planet, starts killing the kids. He's like, he's not even Jedi, dude.
Oh no, he needs to put them in labor camps and gas chambers.
Yeah, that's too far.
Yeah, the kids probably died too quickly.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
Quill.
They were too merciful.
Quill's reactions in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Infinity War, they're all motivated by him being incredibly emotionally attached to people to the point of absolutely ridiculous overreactions. Established, and the film at least puts effort into say like if there's going to be something he does that's gonna fuck things up that other characters wouldn't do, it'll be related to these people, these important people, or how emotional it is. What I'm trying to say is he's gonna bring in the fact that they don't go to the river in a quiet place as a human error. It's a logical error that someone can make. Which, if you've seen the film, they live there for what, like 2 years, right next to the river? They tell us in the film that the river is a safe place. You can scream while at the river.
I'd live there.
I live there. That seems like the right thing to do. And they don't, in the film, even remotely try and explain. All they need to do is have a kid say, Dad, why don't we live here? And then the dad is like, you can't make anything that lasts long near a river or something, like you can't build on a river. But then I was just gonna say you could just argue they could dig, they could do anything. There's plenty they could do just because they could make so much noise next to a river.
Yeah, why not live down in that safe room? I mean, that's just. I mean, if your family's at risk, and if you're in constant danger all the time, living in fear, why the fuck are you not down in that room for your cooking and your cleaning and your leisure and your spelling? Why are you not always down there?
Oh, see, okay, so it's, first thing is that we see them in the film build the soundproof room only once the baby's coming along, which is retarded. You build that well before.
That's the first thing you fucking do.
So yeah, so they have intuition, they have creativity, they don't choose to live at the river, so that's one thing. And then someone in chat just said, because then you'd have no movie. That's a lack of creativity. If you can't make a movie out of a film where there's monsters everywhere that react to hearing things, and you've put I'd say it makes sense to put your base of operations at the river, and then they need to go out for reasons, and that's what puts them in trouble. Right.
Or you just don't have the fucking waterfall.
You just don't have the waterfall, that's a good point.
Yeah, did that scene have to exist? Does it ever come up? I can't forget, does it ever come up again? Do they ever use it?
As Wolf pointed out when we watched it, he's like, they get...
Oh, that's when they established that louder sounds cover up softer sounds, and you need a waterfall for that.
As though we even needed to have that explained to us in the first place.
Yeah, as if even a child doesn't know that.
And there's so many things they don't explain. So they have sound everywhere, implying that there's some kind of place they're getting sound from. And it brings up the question of, wait, so typically you get sound from a beach, and it's like, can you live on the water? Can these things get to you in the water? What do they do with water? What happens? Because water's pretty noisy. I don't know do they go after fish? Do they eat fish? Do they kill fish? And you'd be like, oh, that's exploring too much. And you're like, okay, fine, but stop letting us know that these are options.
Yeah,
it's
but,
just
confusing. But if your defense is you're thinking too much,
Stop makes sense.
It's like those zombie movies, right? Where you're like, if I was the kid, and I'd be like, why doesn't everybody live on a houseboat, like on the lake, and they're safe all the time?
The argument could be that you'll run out of resources eventually. You need a more consistent whatever. There's things you can do is kind of what I would argue for. You can make stuff up. You can be like, oh, the boat is falling apart, or it's running out of electricity, or the motor breaks, and it's like we have to go to land. That could be the film. They have to go to land. That could be interesting. Like, you don't have to. They put themselves in this position, and people are like, but if you recognize the river, then you have no movie. It's like, that's their fault. Why are you saying that like it's inevitable? They actually say themselves that they can't hear them under the river, when you could have just said, yeah, the river doesn't protect you. It's a different frequency of sound. The river doesn't stop them from hearing you. It's an in-house rule. You could be like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, like for whatever explain. They could hypothesize about it. Well, these things know what a river sounds like. They know that it's not something they can kill or eat, so they filter it out or something like that.
Yes, he's arguing that, hey, humans make mistakes. And for me, it's just like, that's...
anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, what can someone do in a film that you can't just justify with that excuse? Is there ever a time where a character does something that you think is dumb? Mr... what's his name? Patrick Willems? I'm just curious.
I forgot we were watching a video like that.
Like, you know, if someone's just walking around having a normal day that shoots herself in the head and the family doesn't even care, they don't even notice, and there's blood everywhere, and then...
Sometimes people just do weird things.
Yeah, and you just, I'd be like, is that fair? And then he's like, that's an extreme. And I'd be like, oh, so there's a scale. There is a scale. There's a line drawn, just to clarify.
They make choices based on emotion. Not everyone thinks exactly the same. And also...
What exactly would the choice have been to not go to the river that was emotional?
Because,
They're lazy.
because the mother had a traumatic experience involving a waterfall as a child,
Oh, God.
and so she has waterfall phobia.
We're emotionally retarded.
You see, that's weird because I have this phobia of monsters that want to kill me. So that's my emotional reason for being by the waterfall all the time.
Can you imagine that in the film? They're like, the kid points out, should we live in the river? It's like, your mother doesn't like water.
Okay.
She can stay at home then. We'll stay here.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Waterfalls killed my father.
Why aren't we just fucking camping here? Like, we have all the gear we could ever need and then some.
Yeah, Gamer of Rock is right. I think this falls under Jared response theory. They have to categorize it. Not many know.
Even Jared was like that. The purple-haired bitch was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he pointed out.
Even Jared recognized that the purple-haired bitch didn't make any sense.
People make mistakes.
Jared's on a
You know,
different
in Star
plane
Trek,
than this.
Vulcans live dominated by logic, and it's established that acting logically is at odds with acting human. So if everyone...
That's not... Did you seriously just justify that acting logical is actually opposing to acting human? It's not acting logical alone, it's acting only logical. Only logical, yes, that's less than human because humans are inherently emotional beings. That doesn't mean we never act logically. Come on.
Like, man, they're the opposite, okay? Human and logical, two different things.
He makes an argument in this fucking video that he's using this microphone system right now because it's good and he needed one because he wanted to be on the move. It's like, that sounds like a logical decision.
I think, and you don't get castigated in Vulcan society for, it's, when people make fun of you for being too human, it's because you're emotional, not illogical. You can do illogical things and people don't say, haha, you're human.
Someone in the chat said that he's evolved as a critic.
Oh no.
Oh my.
It's just, I can't believe he cites Star Trek to prove that acting in logical ways means you're not human. It's like, what are you doing?
Everyone acted totally logically all the time, only making the most logical decision in any situation. No one was acting human.
Yeah, if you acted logically 100% of the time, that would be an issue. But again, this is what's happening.
This is like the 40-hour movie, and this is like the characters behaving as we want them to. This is a complete straw man. People aren't saying that characters have to be robots. That's not what we're asking for.
There are plenty of things they do in the film. For example, the fireworks system to distract them. It's like, oh, that makes some sense. Yeah, I can see that. I can see doing that. That makes this. Yeah. And then he could be like, no, that was an emotional decision. They just really like fireworks. It has nothing to do with the actual logic of, distracting the enemies. I'd be like, oh. Lucky it had that effect, I suppose.
Yeah, that's convenient that they had that emotion at that exact time they needed to have it. Well, I had the firework emotion just when we needed a distraction. Poof, that was close. Good thing we're not perfect, or else this would be an issue with the plot.
There would be no conflict, which would lead to no drama, which would lead to no stories. And movies would be really painful.
Interesting how he just said there would be no stories when he established that the Vulcans are like fully logical and they have plenty of stories and drama in Star Trek. But sure. Do you guys think you could write a story out of a set of beings that are only logical?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I could.
Absolutely, because you could have two opposing forces that are both being logical
Exactly, that's it.
From their point of
You
view.
have two logical, conflicting ideas. Easy.
Dude, it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, everybody can be out the themselves and be internally consistent, but they can also be opposed to other people, and that can create drama. Conflict is drama.
Yeah, no,
Just, think.
he slammed the kibosh on it, guys. It's only boring if you do logical things. Done.
I think he only hates logical things because he's inherently illogical himself.
Maybe. Well, it's just like he can't argue against them, and so he has to completely try. Well, he's great at attacking these points no one's making.
Yeah, he's creating insane people to fight against, and for some reason his comment section's eating it up like it's just the truth. Like I said, I'm referenced in there as one of the people that does this shit. It's like, when have I ever said that you should always act logical 100% of the time? It's like, what? Who even says that?
I think if somebody asked me, I think it was late last week, that they were writing a story, and the way that they were writing the story, all the characters kind of ended up being sort of the same, and they asked what they could do to kind of change that. And the first thing I said was, have their backgrounds be different so that they are led to their own different conclusions about things. And it works just like this. People don't have to be illogical for them to take branching paths.
And it's a really interesting topic, to be honest, how logic intertwines with emotion, but he's just made it so boring and simple, like, logically wise. It's just like, this is this, go. It's like, oh.
Isn't that the whole baseline of Thanos? What like, his thinking is technically logical, but it's completely off in comparison to all of the heroes.
It's motivated emotionally, but it's a logical decision, you could argue. This is what I mean by it being really interesting.
It's a logical decision because he has proof, right? His planet was dying, he said that it was dying, and then it eventually died.
But then key lines of dialogue, like when he says, when he's talking about sacrificing Gamora, he's like, I won't let something stand in my way again. It's like he's clearly angry about the fact that he couldn't do it the first time.
Yeah.
And it's not like anyone's making the argument that his solution wouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a logical decision, only it's a different logical compared to the hero's logical.
Yes. And that's the conflict of logical ideas that can happen, but apparently that's just boring. And so just to clarify for viewers and for us, a plot contrivance, so like a convenience or inconvenience, it's like watch The Force Awakens, you'll know what that is. It's like everything works out for you, or whenever something needs to happen plot-wise, the unlucky or lucky
thing happens. This happened.
Yeah. I wouldn't categorize them as a plot hole. I would categorize them as a contrivance or a convenience. But
yeah, it's not like it can't happen. It's just insane coincidences that when the stars just happen to line up.
And as far as I'm concerned, you can have them, just bloody hell, try not to have 100 that all lead up to the biggest payoffs. Like, have them really early on. Like, for example,
a story can start with a great with a great coincidence.
Yeah.
Someone's thrust into some kind of scenario, but that doesn't mean that every single thing has to happen because
Star Wars, R2-D2 ends up bumping into Luke Skywalker. That's the coincidence that starts the whole film off.
But it's not too bad because it has to bump into somebody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's fine because it's right at the beginning, and the rest of the story is where it works to have payoffs. That everything has to happen just because of how characters are motivated. But that's the thing. It's fine with me to have a couple, but like, it depends on what they do. For example, we need to open this door. I'll shoot it, and then it opens, and you're like, wow. Like, that was lucky, instead of like the million other things that could happen, and it turns out that door behind it has the exact thing they need, you know, and you just be like, yeah, that takes me out of the film.
Whenever somebody punches the keypad, and because they don't know the code, and it opens up the door.
Stuff like that, yeah.
It's convenient. That's what happens when you punch it. I don't know if that's how doors would be designed, but alright. Seems like a counterproductive security measure to me. Okay.
Let's see his assessment of plot contrivances.
There is a huge plot hole in Star Wars.
These motherfuckers coming for
Why would
man.
the Death Star has such an obvious design flaw?
I was actually talking to Footier about this like half hour ago, but it's a bit weird to say that it's like a contrivance or convenience that there's this hole that they can fire a missile down to destroy the entire Death Star when they're holding the blueprint for it. So they have literally every piece of information about the Death Star. So it's logical that they would find, you know, like, I use this analogy with Footier. So you look at a car, and it's like, destroy this thing with just, you know, a lighter, like within 5 seconds. If someone who's never seen a car before, he'd be like, I don't know. But somebody who actually knows what a car is and knows the blueprints, they can immediately go to the
Disconnect one wire.
well, you could do that. I was gonna say you could open the gas tank thing, just throw
Toss the lighter in.
yeah, and then boom, and it's like, oh, that's a pretty convenient way to be able to destroy the car. It's like, well, I mean, I guess it is.
If you know how a car works, you know that all I have to do is disconnect a spark plug and it won't start.
And
All I have to do is just cut one wire and it's not going anywhere.
the idea is that machines tend to have big weaknesses that you'd know if you were the one who made it, or i.e. the one who had the blueprint. And let's remember, every single ship in the fleet is destroyed outside of Luke's. They miss the first shot, and he has to use the Force to be able to nail it. Like, it's not easy. It's not something that just...
Yeah, it's not like they just flew there on holiday and blew it up.
So, yeah, to me, you could say... I think I'd be happy to say it's slightly convenient, but it's not a significant convenience that has no basis in reality. It's like, come on.
It wasn't convenient for them when they were doing it.
Certainly not. It would have been way better if it was as simple as, oh yeah, we could just fire a remote-controlled rocket right in there from wherever we are. It'd be like, wow, that's useful. Yeah, as someone just said in chat, it's like, wow, how convenient this car just happens to be filled with a liquid that makes it explode. It's like...
Also, we're on a roof now.
Yes, we are.
Okay, some of these can be valid complaints. Some...
Did you catch that?
Not that one, though.
Yeah, but remember what he said at the beginning?
arbiter of telling you who can have a valid complaint or not.
Remember he said at the beginning that these things don't matter? That he said, oh, that's a valid complaint. It's like, wait, can you you just tell me which one's a which? Because
Yeah, are they or not?
the
Can they be valid or not?
mighty
They're
Patrick
valid
Williams...
They're valid depending on what movies he subjectively likes.
Exactly. This is something you should be able to pick up pretty quickly, is that he's raging against all of the people in the world who said that they didn't like a movie because of X plot hole, and then he's just like saying, that's stupid, but then there's going to be a time where he watches a movie, doesn't like it, and then someone says, why didn't you like it? And he goes, I don't know, it didn't really make sense that this thing happened, it didn't really make sense that we go, that's just a plot hole, why'd you care?
Yeah, just shut up about plot holes.
Shut up about plot holes.
Shut up about plot holes.
Don't think.
Don't think about stories. There's no reason to write good stories. There's no reason to have consistent lore. There's no reason to have, to put all this work into making everything make sense. There's no reason. Why bother? Just have some nonsensical story with flashy graphics.
That's why I can't stand people like this, because every time they're like, oh, just ignore everything wrong with it. Don't think. That just spits in the face of every single good story ever written.
And dude,
Because if you can just make everything good just by ignoring everything bad, then what's the point of ever making something good?
I don't want that. Yeah, like I don't want people to have that.
yeah, we
attitude
don't
in my
want
videos.
that, Will.
I don't want to tell them. I don't want them to say, "Oh, yeah, that video you made, it's fine. I just ignored all the bad shit."
But yes, so the problem for me fundamentally about now this video is he's contradicting himself imminently. So at least we could assume that he's saying there's never any problems with anything, and you could be like, that's a retarded position, but fine, at least he's consistent. But now he's just said there are such things as valid plot holes. But now we know that he has a scale, and since ours is based on literal just evidence of contradiction, that's all we require. His is based on, it's about whether or not I feel that it is. Like, okay.
Someone in the chat said, just ignore the Holocaust.
Jesus. Yeah,
I agree.
That'll work.
I perfectly agree. Holocaust didn't happen.
Fox Stream today said stop this stream about this hack and go to Jared. Bassist Banagy said, guys, please watch the Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay demo and share your thoughts. They did actually say a bit at the beginning of the stream. If you can still cycle back, you'd be able to hear a bit of
We
that.
haven't watched enough. It looks fun to me, at least from like the 15 minutes I've actually seen.
Yeah.
But I want to watch more of it before I can formulate a full opinion on it.
The 1 versus 0 AI debate, when humanity develops AI, eventually an equation where one is save humanity, 0 destroy, is going to occur. I'm assuming that's to do with how to make logical, dramatic stories, which again, yeah, especially if you bring in artificial intelligence, it starts to get really interesting. But no, it's all boring. And
Sometimes there's a story development that's a little too convenient. Like in the 2009 Star Trek, Kirk just happens to get stranded on the same planet as old Spock, and they end up in the same cave together so Spock can explain what's going on. I like the movie, but that's a little contrived and lazy.
I'm glad we got that far, that's good, okay. Thumbs up.
But it's not a plot hole.
Who the fuck fuck said a contrivance or a convenience is a plot hole anyway?
I don't know. Ever. He's just making shit up.
Oh man, who is he talking to?
I want to meet these people who think that conveniences have to be plot holes, who want these 40-hour movies. I want to meet these crazy people out there, ask them questions. I really want to poke their brains a bit.
So you guys are gonna love this one.
I mean, how does Benicio del Toro know the rebels' plans? Nobody told him. That's a plot hole.
Now, funnily enough, ER brought that up in his criticism of The Last Jedi, and I actually sent him a PM saying, but he was there twice when he listens to them explain the plan. That's not actually a plot hole. And he said, yeah, I missed that. And I was like, huh, fair enough. Simple as that. And this thing happens. It's called making a mistake in criticism. It's not something that like means that your entire criticism is now wrong. It means that that particular one would be inaccurate, which is.
Yeah, didn't you, Mo? You were telling me about. You mentioned something in Infinity War. You called.
Oh yeah.
Doctor Strange's home Sanctorum or something.
I called it camouflage when it was Sanctorum. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Okay.
That's a genuine mistake, but it didn't affect my arguments whatsoever.
That's a plot hole.
It's a plot hole in this video.
Everything you say from now on, it's irrelevant. You can't be taken seriously
You
anymore.
tired from use too.
And yeah, I've absolutely made these mistakes on my channel too. You just need to really make sure that you get the dialogue down. You know, you get the scenes down, and it's like he's going to explain the answer now, but I got to follow up for this.
50% of the plot holes that I see people complain about are things that are actually explained in the movie if you just pay attention. Like that one in The Last Jedi, there's a scene where you see DJ listening as Poe tells Finn and Rose there's a...
The interesting part of what he said was 50% of the plot holes I see online are explained in the movie. And it's like, 50%?
Really? Exact, perfectly in the middle. Okay.
Like, I'm sure he's just being hyperbolic, but
It's like,
wow.
Wow, that's wow. Yeah, let's go over them.
Ben's just pointed out another one. I said that 3PO's arm is red in TFA, but then it's just not in The Last Jedi, but it's actually replaced in TFA. I just didn't notice. I missed it.
It's actually a plot hole with TFA.
And but the thing is, it's like, did I make any big arguments about it aside from saying that they gave him a red arm to make him?
It's just a side note.
What?
Like it's a sentence in
Oh, right,
one
yeah.
sentence in a 5-hour video.
And if someone was like, "You made that mistake, did you admit it?" I'd be like, "Mm-hmm." And they're like, "But your video is wrong."
So now the 99.5% of the rest of the film that I made about the film.
Now let's talk about that, which obviously he's not going to talk about that too. He only picked one of the most commonly made mistakes, because there's a couple of people who made this mistake, but again, The Last Jedi is not exactly lacking mistakes beyond this one. You can pick out a few thousand more.
You just pay attention. Like that one in The Last Jedi, there's a scene where you see DJ listening as Poe tells Finn and Rose the Resistance's plan. But I guess if you're too busy live tweeting about plot holes, you can miss some stuff. If you
Implying, by the way, that there are actual plot holes to find, and that they missed the ones that were there, made up ones, because they missed stuff. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I thought we were supposed to shut up about plot holes. It doesn't matter whether or not you find ones that are there or not, that are actually accurate or not. You should just shut up in general. Isn't that the point of this video?
It's like it's such a scummy thing to do when you try and frame like people mischaracterizing this. If you take a film like The Last Jedi, which has so many plot holes in it, and say, oh yeah, well this one that people cite is wrong. It's like, okay, but the other 600, are we just not going to talk about those?
Exactly.
Are they not around? Do they not exist anymore? Because somebody that I've never heard of this plot hole, by the way. I've actually never heard this one. But if somebody's making this one, yeah, they're wrong. So does that mean there are no plot holes in the film?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure ER's video is an hour and a half. He makes that one point. Like, we're going to address the rest, or are we just going to say, yeah, ER, if you were paying more attention rather than looking for plot holes, maybe you'd have better criticism.
Speaking of ER, I've seen like 50 people say, get ER in here. You guys gotta understand, it is unbelievably difficult to get into contact with ER.
We would
in
have
any
him here
circumstance.
immediately if we could, but he's not.
I would have had him on my podcast forever ago if I had the chance. I only just got him to actually get on Twitter, or at least look at Twitter, because I bought the full, what was it, Death Note manga today, and I just tweeted about it, and he retweeted it, and I was like, oh,
assume the worst, by the way, for Passion and Nerd in chat. I assume the worst about him picking that. I'm like, he picked that criticism because he knew that he could defend it, as opposed to other ones in The Last Jedi that are way more difficult to actually defend. He's like,
Yeah.
let's go with this one, because then it'll be a quick defense of The Last Jedi during my video about how plot holes are silly to talk about anyway. It's just like, a little bit cheap, but okay.
I kind of want to ask him, is like, so what about all the other plot holes in The Last Jedi that people have a problem with? Are you just going to say don't care about them? I mean, is that going to be your actual defense?
I suppose the point of that section was people getting information wrong, but I mean, does he need to actually point that out? That people get information wrong and that's bad? Because, yeah, I completely agree.
I thought he established that human beings aren't always logical.
And I don't think you're going to catch anybody saying it's okay to get things factually wrong. Like, it's still criticism, you know? When Jared explains that Han Solo was murdered by Rey, and then he sees the scene again, he's not going to go, well, my criticism still stands. It's like, no, it doesn't. It's over. No, this is actually as far as I've seen it already.
Isn't the point of his video that people are calling things plot holes that aren't plot holes? Therefore, there are too many plot holes in the videos that point out the plot holes.
I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't be too far away from agreeing with him in that there are some things people call plot. If he's got somebody calling contrivances plot holes, I'd be like, yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And if he said people are calling things plot holes when they're actually not plot holes, they're actually explaining the movie, I'd be like, well, that one's just self-evident. If this actual explanation that, of course, it's not even an error, so... Yeah. But his title is Shut Up About Plot Holes. And then he opens with saying plot holes don't actually matter. And so I'm like...
That's wrong.
Yeah, these 2 points are a little bit different than that point.
Yeah, exactly.
My comment on his video was that he didn't provide an example where a plot hole might actually derail the film. Is his contention that doesn't exist, no sense required? And yeah, that's obviously no person would actually purport that fucking perspective, right? There's no person on the planet that would say you don't need any sense at all, movie or storyline.
Here's a guy in his comment. He said, "Oh, thank God, someone's finally addressing this. I'm so sick of people pointing out that a film has plot holes and using that as proof that movies are objectively bad." And he misspelled objectively on purpose. He says, Mahler made a 5-hour-long, quote-unquote, critique, because it's not even a critique. That's the thing, that they won't even call it a critique.
He calls it a critique.
Of The Last Jedi, in which he basically nitpicked plot holes and said that was the objective way to view a film, and if you defended it off any other basis, then your opinion is subjective and doesn't matter. First, there is no objective way to view a film. That's why film has any value in the first place. Second, even if there was, it would be precisely the opposite, seeing as though plot holes and inconsistencies are less than inconsequential.
Less than inconsequential.
Wow. What a fucking stupid ass thing to say.
Yeah, people are actually like upvoting and approving that comment, and I'm just like, did they read it? I'm assuming that they might not have.
This video is shit.
I just want to ask these people, like, if they say that to me, I just want to be like, okay, so The Room is as good as Citizen Kane, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, you know they can't actually defend that.
Well, if you recall, I hate everything's reaction, but no, The Room is bad, though. Yes, it is. That's a good point. Why do you... God damn it.
How do you have different standards for the things you like?
But yeah, like I said, I've not seen anything on from this point now, so this is uncharted ground, guys. I don't know what he's going to say.
You can find plot holes anywhere. They're all over your favorite movies. In Lord of the Rings, the Eagles could have just flown the ring to Mountain Dew.
Okay,
there's actual lore reasons why that couldn't happen.
The one thing I would say about that, though, is they don't appear in the movie, those explanations.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
But the thing is, he's saying it as if... this is why this is disingenuous. He picks a popular movie, points out a plot hole, therefore every movie has plot holes. It's like, no, Lord of the Rings has a plot hole. Lord of the Rings has the ghost issue that I would raise as well. But
tradition for him at this point is like, I found this one thing, which means everything else doesn't matter.
I was going to say, there's a severe lack of frequency compared to something like The Last Jedi, and does that matter? Apparently not.
If there's a plot hole in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and there's 27 plot holes in the first half of The Last Jedi, which has the better, which is more consistent?
Oh, and of course, this is whataboutism as well.
Yeah, this is whataboutism. What about the Eagles in Lord of the Rings? What about them?
And that's the thing, you'd be like, okay, so reference a movie that does not have a plot hole in it. And a lot of people ask me, and like so off the top of my head, you just have to think of a nice and simple film that's based on characters alone in like a room. You could, like, for example, the episodes of TV where characters are trapped in a room, just bottle episodes. It's like, you're really gonna find a plot hole in something like that? Like, probably not, because there's barely any plot. You can do it.
What's the plot hole in Duel?
And then you have to think to yourself as well, just because you may not be able to find an example straight off the top of your head, theoretically it's possible, because there are scenes in other films we've just recognized that don't have plot holes, which means theoretically you can have a whole movie without them.
Yeah, just have a bunch of those scenes in a movie.
It just stands to reason. That's how that works. But I would suggest tacitly that In Bruges doesn't have any plot holes, from what I know. It's a very concise film. It's very simplistic. It's 3 characters in one area, and mainly, and I'd be like, I need to think about it, but there are a couple, and again, I actually agree with the point that a plot hole does not kill a film. It's not necessary. It's all about context. Context.
If there's a plot hole and
it's
you point
over.
it out, that means the movie's terrible and you can't like it ever. And if you like it, you're wrong.
Real life plot holes. The gas chambers were only in the camps liberated behind the Iron Curtain, and every character backstory contradicts another. Have you heard the plot hole from Life where they said people are wrong about things regularly, have bad information, and misunderstand the news despite having a device that allows them infinite knowledge from the touch of a button? Like, real life plot holes, but obviously there's reasons for all that. It's just funny to think about as a contradiction. Like, we shouldn't be in this position, yet we are.
There's can a documentary have plot holes?
I don't know, maybe. It depends.
Someone pointed out something about the Eagles thing in the chat that I didn't think of before. I'll have to watch. I mean, I'm already going to watch the first movie a couple more times before I fully finish up my script on the Lord of the Rings. But they said that there's a line where Gandalf says that Saruman controls the skies, which would be true because the Nazgul and the Fell Beasts were walking or flying around everywhere.
Which would be fine, but the eagle saved him from Saruman's tower already.
At that point, they were still on the horses, though.
All right.
They hadn't even begun the journey at Rivendell yet.
Still,
the Nazgul weren't wiped out until they got to Rivendell.
I mean, you'd agree we only needed a line that could make that solid, instead of it being like more an inference. Which again,
it might have been a blink and you miss it line. I don't remember it myself.
I'm still strictly
out for that, so.
I'm still strictly on the team of Lord of the Rings. It's incredible, but like, it's that one's a bit. What's the defense for the ghosts, by the way?
The defense for the ghosts is that they were really only coming back to defend Gondor, not to attack its enemies.
That's my problem. Is that Aragorn says that we'll release you for defending that fight instead of we'll release you if you just wash over Mordor.
Well, they're defending Gondor. They weren't there to attack Mordor.
So I guess my conclusion to that then would be is you have a line where Aragorn says do that, and then they say we have no interest in attacking. We are only interested in defending Gondor or something like that.
How does it go in the book? Do they deviate?
In the book, the ghosts straight up don't actually make a physical appearance.
Oh.
They don't even come to Minas Tirith in the book. They only take over the boats, and then just Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and some other guys.
And that's the thing. I am absolutely. These things are fine, and they're ready to be discussed to sort out and how serious they actually are and what they can affect. But the idea that you point out one in one film that's popular means every film has them is ridiculous. And yeah, someone just donated. Even Tolkien said Lord of the Rings was imperfect. Yeah, and that's fine. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, shit. You make something that expansive, eventually you're going to make a mistake.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's just playing probability at this point.
Passionate had said, wouldn't a plot hole for a documentary be internal bias? So like, you don't show things and do show things depending on what narrative you're running, essentially. I'm not sure if that would be considered a plot hole or not, but
That
you
could
know,
be considered a contrivance.
it's an issue within a documentary if you actually do refrain from showing information that fucks with the narrative you're trying to push. But obviously, we will continue.
What's the plot in the documentary?
Everyone look up a video on YouTube, The Greatest Story Never Told. It's 6 hours of defending Hitler. I'll guarantee you that you'll come back neo-Nazis after it.
The
We already are, though.
plot of a
That's true.
documentary.
Well, I was talking to the chat, not just
Other people. Yeah. We've no need to tell them our conversion story.
To give an example, Retro Ahoy did a video on Polybius. It's essentially just a series of facts in a row about Polybius, the history of the arcade machine. But he has a narrative. It's a documentary where he's playing it up for a bit of a thriller. So it opens with saying, like, the myth of Polybius, which is that it was created by the FBI to try and induce a sense of, like, hysteria in the people who played it, and then record the reactions, and then get that information back to the FBI to judge for experiments and stuff. That was like the thing. And he goes over all the information that could actually lead to that being true, and then covers a bunch of games that look crazy, and you're like, oh my god, is that what the FBI did? And then as the story goes on, it becomes less and less until it really gets, you know, bolted down into a factual just, no, it's not that at all, it was just a fake. And you're like, okay. That's the narrative. Because he could have just opened with saying, it's a fake. Thanks, guys. Come back next time. I'll have all my references in the fucking description. But it's like, no, he wanted to make a movie out of it. He wanted to make it interesting and fun. You guys have seen documentaries, right, where they make things dramatic and they sell a storyline.
Well, with a documentary doesn't have a plot so much as it's about a plot.
You can call it a narrative. But they're selling a start, middle, finish. They build up. For example, any of the Walking With series they'll try and get you to feel sympathy for maybe a herbivore, and they're like, look, he's looking after his family, and then a T-Rex arrives, and they're like, he makes a run for his life, but then he doesn't make it, and he just gets eaten. You're like, no, Franklin. But it's yeah, you know, you don't have to be surgical in a documentary. Let's see what we got next.
Newman saved everyone all that trouble. In Toy Story, why does Buzz freeze like the other toys when he thinks he's a real person?
He's bringing these up as if they prove anything. These are like known things that are really interesting to talk about. Why does Buzz freeze when he doesn't believe in the idea of being a toy? It's like, some people argue that he's afraid, but it genuinely is something you just have to go, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Because
I
Buzz...
guess the whole movie's garbage and you're not allowed to like it.
Same with Jurassic Park and the T-Rex scene where the cliff just comes out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Like, we can acknowledge that's a problem and still like the movie.
And it's more interesting. You could be like, why did they do that? Why was this mistake made? It's like, well, they need Buzz to be the character that doesn't want to be a toy, but they also need him to not fuck that up early, because
he also needs to be a toy.
So,
he needs to behave like a toy while not believing he's a toy.
yeah, and you could have had a quick line, I guess, at the beginning when he first gets out of his packet where Woody explains that he'll be murdered or something. But it's just like, yeah, it's going to be difficult to reconcile it, so we're just going to let that flaw go. And you can point it out as an objective flaw, because it is, but then you can be like, how much does it affect your enjoyment of the film? It's like, well, personally, it didn't affect me. I imagine most kids aren't going to give a shit, because, you know, it's like, that's the subjective side of it. It's, yay.
Person. In Ocean's 11, how did they get the flyers into the vault? In Cinderella, why does the glass slipper stay when everything else just...
Dude, the whole fucking movie's made of magic. You can't...
Fucking idiots, magic.
The fairy godmother could easily have made that happen, considering she's doing all that crazy shit. I don't know, that's... whatever. But again, it doesn't even matter that he's pointing these out. He's showing that he can do what everyone else is doing, but he chooses not to about the things he likes.
What about Cinderella's theme?
Oh, that's true. The plot holes don't match with them.
disappears? In Alien, if the acid can melt through the floor, why does it melt through the entire ship? In Gremlins...
Wouldn't the acid just dissipate after a while?
I was gonna say, why would we assume it goes on forever? Why wouldn't it react and then dissipate, as you just said? Like, that wouldn't... Isn't that what normal acid does? Does normal acid go right through the Earth's core?
Do you not know how acid works?
Why would we assume it goes through forever? That's a weird thing to say.
Why would that? Yeah. You idiot. You know, acid will go through more stuff because there's more acid to do the eating.
Congratulations, you don't know how acid works, and you made up a plot hole that doesn't exist.
That was a strange one.
But he smashed the shit out of that plot hole that isn't a plot hole.
Dude, can you imagine in his scientific lab where they drop acid, sometimes they just go, emergency, get fiber to the Earth's core, quickly. You have to go stop the acid.
If you drop a single drop will go go all the way to the
As Rich has just pointed out, some acid can eat through granite, but not plastic. It's entirely possible it couldn't eat through everything in the ship. You never know.
That's true. Absolutely.
Again, that ship was massive.
And
Does he not know how big Nostromo was?
someone else highlighted as well. Maybe his question is more about how many bottles does it take for you to consider a movie bad, and my perspective on that is literally just it depends how much it controls the plot. How much?
Yeah, it depends on how egregious it is.
Yeah, there's not a magic number.
Yeah, it's always case by case. Every film you have to break them down and figure them out, and how much of these things we use. Obviously, he's not going to be saying that. He's trying to throw it into the section of none. None of them matter. Get on with it.
Well, you know how it is these days. Treating every film as an individual film makes you a terrible critic, just like treating every human being as an individual makes you a racist.
Acid response.
Theory. Acid response theory.
What does after midnight technically mean? Isn't it always after midnight? How is that rule?
Yeah, that's true. That's the problem with gremlins. It doesn't make sense. They say that if you feed them after midnight, they'll do a thing. It's like, but how would...
Everything is after midnight.
Yeah, everything is both before and after it. So
Yeah.
he's saying this like it doesn't matter. But it does matter.
It makes sense. In Star Wars, why does the Death Star have a trash compactor when they can just jettison the trash into space?
Because they want to crush it and recycle it. I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't just crushing it into a box and pushing the one neat little box into space be more efficient than pushing a bunch of other shit in there?
I don't know why the recycling thing doesn't work.
I don't know why the recycling thing has a giant squid in it.
Here's the thing. It wouldn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a trash compactor. It could be any other pit that they need to get out of.
Not just that, but bringing this up, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair, and you'd be like, it's only invented to put them in danger the way it happens in the scene. I should be like, sure, film's not perfect. I don't think anybody would be arguing that. But again, I would just be like, it's not really. Is he saying this is a plot hole because they would shove debris out instead of crushing it? Like I said, you could assume that they were recycling instead of assuming that they wouldn't. You know what I mean? That's equal in terms of logic. You've assumed that they would not recycle. I could assume that they would, so it's neutral.
Dude, everyone in the chat's like, the Death Star is environmental. they're looking out for space pollution.
Yeah, the existence of the creature inside of it, that's a strange one. I don't know how to explain that, because I'm assuming it would die if it stayed in there, or if it's got space to stay in there. Why do they allow it in there? I don't know.
That is a plot hole.
It could be the equivalent of rats on a ship.
True.
You know, the thing is so big, or it was on some kind of I don't know if I don't think it's a plot hole. It is unusual, but maybe a ship that big. I mean, if I was gonna look for a reason, I'd probably say a ship that big, and with this, when you think about all the ships coming and going and where they're from, who knows if it got there as a baby and it grew up, or who knows?
Well, someone just said, what if they eat the actual garbage, and that's essentially what those rooms function as?
Someone said, what if the Empire just likes hentai?
Yeah, like here's the thing. The film is not based around a little tentacle monster in the trash compactor. If the tentacle monster didn't exist, the film would carry on the same way.
Well, this is the other thing. The existence of that ridiculous system, let's just assume, yes, it's absolutely ridiculous, it makes sense. If it killed one of the characters, I'd be on board with it, but it causes drama that gets solved in about 5 or 10 minutes later, and then we move on with the story. So it's not too significant to, the overall payoffs in the film, is it? Can we agree on that? Because I was going to say that someone said it's subjective how much these plot holes affect. Isn't that the point? It's like, well, no, we can agree that, for example, Obi-Wan's death, the escape from the Empire, the explosion of the Death Star, all these things, the biggest payoffs, are the things we should need to be invested in. So how much does this existence of this trash compactor and squid affect these things? It's like, well, it kind of evaporates the drama of them maybe dying in that moment, and you're like, okay. That's a small section of the film that you could argue it has a flaw, and that's if we actually agreed that it makes no sense for that system to be there, which we haven't even got past that yet. So,
yeah. Would the film be the same if that whole scene wasn't there?
I don't think Star Wars loses out if it loses that scene. If they fell down the chute and then got out into the corridor, like if we saw that as an edit, I'd be like, yeah, the film's not exactly broken now, we're fine.
If instead of falling into the trash compactor, they were just followed by stormtroopers.
The
You know,
degree.
it can be tense and dramatic. It's just a matter of how they wanted to portray that. It doesn't affect the story.
The degree that a plot hole affects a film's plot is subjective. It's very not subjective. These are absolutely provable cause and effects arguments. So
And even if you're arguing that it is a subjective amount, it is objective that there is an amount at all.
yes,
And all you need is a little bit, and that's enough to affect it.
and to quote that person in the comments, just right, H Bomber guy, everyone else, Quinton. When you say that all of film analysis is subjective, you've made an objective statement. It is inherently hypocritical. You have to think about it for a while because it's
Some people do.
yeah. Anyway,
Only Sith deal in absolutes.
he's cut out of his own video. This will be interesting.
Look, if you want to watch stuff this way, you can even find plot holes in this video. Why am I wearing sunglasses if I'm inside?
Because you're a poser.
First off, those aren't sunglasses, I don't think.
And that doesn't.
Those
Hang
are
on.
prescription glasses.
That doesn't affect your plot, which is discussing the point about plot holes. Who cares about where you are when you're saying it? It's something we can raise, but like, that's not the same at all.
Yeah, I can ask questions about why you're on a roof in a loud alley when you have a nice quiet room to record in, but really I'd be more interested in how can you start off by saying shut up about plot holes and they don't matter, and then also say, oh, but that one's valid.
Good lord, why is this a point?
I'm indoors in one shot and outdoors in the next, but we never see me go outside.
No one is
Plot hole.
saying that's a plot hole. No one's fucking saying that. If you see a character in a room,
Is
and then
this-
the next scene you see them outside, that's a plot hole because you didn't watch them go in the elevator.
The problem is there's no plot to this video,
I have to
so
ask.
there couldn't possibly be a plot hole.
I have to ask, 'cause it feels like there's two sides to the objective-subjective thing. I have to ask, is this the best you got? Like, you're
This is
gonna...
pretty shit. This
You're
video.
gonna argue that it's not a real thing because you can pull out plot holes in a video essay? You fucking kidding me? Try again.
You can find plot holes or logic gaps in any movie. And if you want to, go right ahead. Just don't tell me that those are genuine flaws and problems.
How can you... Okay, how can you have a flaw in logic that's not genuine?
You know what this sounds to me? This sounds like I can't argue against your plot holes. Don't bring them up to me.
Exactly.
That sounds exactly like what he's saying. That's what it literally says. It's like saying I mean, what would even be a better example of that? It's just don't tell me I can't argue that 2 + 2 isn't 4. So don't tell me it is. You know?
Yeah, what does genuine mean? That's where I'm stuck.
That is a very good. What is a yeah? How do you differentiate between a genuine and an ingenuine plot hole?
Apparently
What's a
logic...
fake plot hole?
Logic doesn't count as genuine. But whatever he considers genuine, logic isn't, like, in it, I guess, in his collective.
Reasons that a movie is
But
bad.
didn't he earlier say that sometimes these things are valid?
So now he's going back to his original after flip. He's now he's flipped and now he's flopped back.
I mean, he's definitely done that in this video. I'm not this video's advocate, FYI. Don't worry, man. I like that we can have somebody to at least try and make it make sense. I way prefer it when there's actual... Because he sounds insane to me and Wolf and Rags and Flotilla right now. This
That
is...
sound nuts.
Go
Did
right
you
ahead.
proofread this?
Just don't tell me that those are
So we would
genuine
need to ask that
flaws and
question.
problems and reasons that a movie is bad. Because they're not. None of these things actually matter.
Okay, so maybe he's saying that just because you bring up a plot hole, that doesn't mean that the whole movie is bad.
Well, I think this is the classic argument, dude. He's saying that bad is the process of... You know, like when Wolf said at the beginning, it was sort of as a joke, there's so many problems with A Quiet Place, you can't like it. And I think that's what he is saying we're doing when we call a movie bad. When we mean bad, what we're talking about is craftsmanship, but a lot of people interpret it as you cannot feel it's good. You cannot feel that you like it.
Yeah, a movie can be poorly crafted, but you can enjoy it.
I'm
Absolutely.
just really bothered by the fact that he's just defending plot holes as though it's ever a good thing in any way. Because a plot hole by design is a negative.
Yeah, it's not a
Supposed to
good
have
trait.
plot hole.
Yeah, a film isn't made better because of plot holes. How does a plot hole make a film better?
And
It's not a virtuous attribute of a film or a story to have a plot hole.
It's you have to give him the benefit of the doubt to try and assume what he's actually saying, but I'm assuming he's saying, stop telling me that logical things mean my feelings are invalid.
What? I'm not ashamed of that, Jordan. I can teach you how to do a math problem. I'm damn teaching you, ain't I? Yes.
What the fuck?
Which he's right if that's what he's saying, but he's coming across. He needs to re-script this, like, and get words. Remember the guy we covered who said it was not the literal hell, it was the biblical hell, not the figurative hell, the technical hell. We were just like, what the hell do any of these words mean?
Yeah, what the hell do these things mean?
And so people might be like, but more, you refer to the film as bad. And it's like, genuinely, if I've only said it's bad, I will usually be talking about a particular part of it as in writing. It's more than likely going to be writing. Writing's the main thing I talk about. So, bad writing is not subjective. Bad has a definition that you can use to describe, for example, unfaithful or disrespectful or contradictive. All of these things can come under bad, but the other things that come under bad are feelings as well. Bad's got a huge set of definitions, and that might be the problem. That people assume I'm saying you can't have feelings, but like I said, I try and clarify by saying bad craftsmanship, bad writing. That's not something you get to go, you know what? No. I disagree, and you've invalidated my feelings. It's like, it's not 12
Yeah, but when you
pints
make
for
a
Griffin
5-hour series full of issues that a film has, some of which are apparently irrefutable because people have done it, it's much easier to say, oh yeah, but he said this thing about objectivity and subjectivity, which means I don't have to worry about anything else he said.
Yeah, and this is the thing, by the way. We're trying to offer a scale. We have rules, definitions, and he's just like, blah. That's how you review movies now. Blah.
Yeah, so like, how do you review a movie?
Well, it's all about whatever you felt, and that's literally when you say that, it implies that there's just no difference in talent, work, effort, anything. None of it matters because it just results in
Why strive to make a good film, or a good story, or a good consistent character? Just why bother? It's all about feelings. Just make the most superficial garbage you possibly can. Just keep making BioShock Infinites.
Some people love that game. Okay.
Well, they can love it, and
They can
the
love
game
it,
can
yeah.
still be shit.
There's a
They
set.
could be wrong. It's okay if you're wrong.
There is a set of
They can
terminology
bad
used for critiquing shot composition, performances, special effects, resonance, relevance. He's objective to one term used for critiquing writing. If he was actually sticking to one definition of, let's say, the word bad, he needs to let us know. Bad has got some of the most. I think it's got one of the most definitions of any word. So, like, what are you actually saying? And do you care to make it clear, or do you just want us to infer it? Yeah, let's go in, I guess.
Not what a movie is about. So even though most people are using the term plot hole incorrectly, all of these complaints are
they?
rooted in the same thing.
You say most people.
It's like, he said most people are using plot hole incorrectly. He's like, can I get a source on that, my dude?
Hey, it's his opinion.
You gotta love
It is
it.
his opinion. Also, are we about to find out why logic isn't a good thing? Oh my god.
I've never heard of smart people say that.
I've never heard of smart people.
I'm just saying, there is a trend I've noticed how normally smart people don't argue against logic, but we'll see where this goes.
Right, 'cause I'm gonna quote. I've never heard a smart people say that. That's gonna go in my April Fool's video. I'm gonna say it. It'll be a great quote. Yes, let's hear it.
But movies aren't about logic.
Tell me what movies are
Jesus
about.
Christ.
Tell me what movies are about.
Don't be the guy
All of them.
to die on the hill that logic isn't in films. Literally every fucking film needs logic. Please don't go there.
Everything in general,
Stories
film,
need logic,
books,
yes.
life.
Don't make logic the enemy. It's not gonna end well for you.
Yeah.
You can't do anything without logic, for Christ's sake.
He needs to understand that he has decided to walk down a road where 5 minutes into a video, he is starting to talk about the perils of logic. And when you're at that point where you're like, maybe I should reconsider because I'm actually advocating against logic.
He's gonna argue that it's all about how you feel, it's not about logic. That's probably what it's gonna be.
If Logic is watching this in the comments, let us know how you feel about this man's attack on logic.
It's not like Logic's gonna be it. We probably love this video.
Someone said, I never heard a smart person argue against logic. Bilbo Raggins.
They're not equations. They're not proofs. They're not puzzles.
There's plenty of formulas, equations, and proofs involved in the construction of a film. There really is. Like, you know, cameras? They're technology. Yeah, there's like actual moving gears. There's things.
Can
I slap him? Okay. It's not about the formulas, man. It's about how you feel, man.
Movies are not math. Remember that guy in your freshman dorm who would always try to guess the end?
You know?
What about movies that are like about math?
What about Good Will Hunting? The film of a man who has to do a math problem amazingly. That doesn't count. What about what's the film about Alan Turing who breaks the codes to understand the? You would just be like, no, you're looking at it from a position that there's logic in the story, but that's not about how you appreciate the movie, man.
This is just it's like this postmodernist garbage.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It all just doesn't matter. It's not there. It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't. It's.
How do you adopt his ideas? How would you go, yeah, I actually look at the movies the same way as he does? You'd be like, there's just no consistency at all. But then you might actually say that that's his argument, that no one has any consistency, and that's how you look at films. It's all subjective, you know?
Someone says logic is a social construct. If I'm taking a position, in my defense of that position involves me saying that logic is not good, I'm like, I fucked up somewhere along the road to lead me to this point.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? He's been like targeting plot holes or inaccuracies or misinterpretations, and he's like, no, just logic. That's the bad guy. I'd be like, oh man, don't do that.
I can't fathom being such an unbelievable idiot that I would actually unironically say we should just abandon all logic. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to actually make that point?
Just, you know, like how a movie opens, it'll be an establishing shot. It could be an introduction with a character saying something or a piece of text on something. You know why they do that? It's because you don't crash into a movie. Usually, you can subvert that with some movies and it works. But logically speaking, we have no reference for what we're about to see. So they take us in nice and slow and they tell us what the world is. Then they have events happen. Because logically speaking, it's pretty difficult to be able to reconcile events without a base. That's just a logical thing films sometimes do. I'd start there. I'd be like, would you consider that logical? And then he's like, no, man, because like we don't judge it as logic, you know? It's like, oh, okay.
So you can't just abandon logic or pretend like, oh, well, they didn't do anything logical in this scene, therefore it doesn't matter because movies aren't about logic. I don't know. Maybe a movie is trying to tell a story and you want to tell a logical, consistent story.
Remember how Homer wants to prove to Bart that it's dangerous to take his skateboard across the gorge, and so he does it himself? You could argue that's very illogical because it's going to get you killed, but it's Homer Simpson. So it makes sense. It's logical, actually, from the film's narrative that Homer would choose to make that decision because it's such a stupid thing to do. It's like this. Stop making logic the bad guy. Stop making logic the bad guy.
That's consistent with that universe because. I mean, obviously it always depends on context, as we discussed before, but he doesn't care about context. Well, just imagine a film where it's a bunch of characters that are different species and they're speaking different languages and every other word is from a different language and then just random things happen and there's absolutely no sense at all to the entirety of the film. I guess that wouldn't be a flaw. Because that would be logic.
I was going to say that would be his argument, I think. I think he would say, yeah, because that could be an art house film in which you're not supposed to have a logical through line, and that has value. You cannot say it doesn't have value, and my response is it has subjective value. You can love all the colors, you can find meaning in all of the imagery, but in terms of logic and consistency, you got nothing to work with. Or you might do, depends on what we're dealing with.
Someone said it's logically consistent that you take 2 hours to go 5 minutes into a video.
Well, this is the thing, he's covering these subjects so quickly, but there's huge amounts to say.
It takes a second to say something retarded, and it can take an age to correct it.
Exactly, and he covers the subject of contrivance in what, like 30 seconds? When that's like major for films and storylines, but
Ban assault logic.
That he could prove that he was smarter than the people who made them.
Ban assault logic.
Everyone is turning into that guy. On the site movieplotholes.com, there are 7 plot holes listed for Die Hard. The first
Damn.
I wanna go back and I wanna listen to that one more time, because I don't know if that was as retarded as I thought it was, or if it was meant.
Smarter than the people who made them. Well, now
Literally not an argument.
what did he say? I didn't catch it.
All right, let's go back just a little bit.
movies are not math. Remember that guy in your freshman dorm who would always try to guess the endings of movies so that he could prove that he was smarter than the people who made them? Well, now everyone is turning into that guy.
What?
Okay.
What does that have to do with anything?
So
I mean,
what
I'm
if
sorry that I am smarter than the people that made them.
Yeah, but what if we are? And besides, that doesn't mean we're right or wrong.
I don't even. What does that have to do with anything? Like, a film can be logical without you being able to guess the ending. And what?
Plus, this sounds like this is an attack on critics.
Oh, well, that's the thing. We've got a second video from him that's literally about attacking critics that's much shorter, so I'm interested in seeing that one too. But yeah.
Much shorter. We take another 3 hours.
Well, he's just attacking logic. He can't get much worse at this point, can he?
So those logic doesn't matter, and all those smarty pants on the internet who point out plot holes and inconsistencies and problems with the film, like they think they're smarter than the people who made the movies. Like, yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they.
Yeah, it's possible.
What is the fact that an amateur on the internet? Well, maybe that person is smart. I've met people on. It's stupid. I mean, this is an argument that my dad made once about The Last Jedi. He said all these people on the internet who didn't like it. Well, they're just a bunch of amateurs, and they're critiquing some professional production.
He makes that argument.
Yes, but that doesn't make them wrong.
Well, the irony, the self-awareness you need to really consider. There's a couple people in chat who've highlighted this already, but you understand what he is doing right now, and he's saying about these people. It's like these people are. It's like you're doing that to their art. If their art is to critique films, now you're critiquing their critiques, and somehow you're the arbiter of that's right and they're wrong. Like, do you not see how if you don't base it in any kind of consistency, you're just as wrong as they are by your own logic?
Very true.
We were all tagged in a post on Twitter that says movies are not math, and then it shows Thanos and says purple Bilbo Baggins.
Purple Bilbo Baggins.
On the site movieplotholes.com, there are 7 plot holes listed for Die Hard. The first one says that the villain's plan is to stage a hostage situation so that the police will shut down power to the building, allowing them to access the vault. But since they would have already had detailed plans of the building, they could have just shut down power themselves, making the whole thing more simple. Now, I know it's...
Couldn't you argue that it doubles up as the plan, as in they get to look like they're taking hostages when they're actually trying to perform one of the biggest heists ever or something? I don't know.
Yeah, hostages would slow down the police.
And let's just run with him for a second. Again, this is me trying to explain to the chat, by the way, that this is why it's not subjective. So let's run with that and say we could have had it so that they knocked out the power themselves. They would still need to take care of the hostages, assuming they came in at that time. So let's again change it to, okay, they came in at a time where it was all closed and they knocked out the power, so that they were underneath from the police being able to get them, whatever. And I'd be like, again, the problem wasn't that the police stopped them, it's Bruce Willis's character. So I don't know.
They still end up in the same spot. Cops outside, they have hostages, no power, Bruce Willis. You end up in the same place.
And it's not definitive because there's a bunch of unanswered questions there. Because you could be like, if they're saying we did it so that we could get power down to the vault, you could be like, well, how do you know that taking down? If they took town power themselves, that would still attract attention, and then eventually police, because they're trying to fucking steal a vault from a building. Like they would eventually find out. And actually, I just want to clarify as well. If that is actually significant, if you actually conclude that it's significant, you can be like, well, yeah, that's a plot hole, and that's a flaw. Does it bother you? And you'd be like, that's another question, that's another conversation. You don't have to just give up. You don't have to go, you know what, that's it then, plot holes don't matter.
It's weird. It's like they're taking the position that they accuse you of taking all the time.
Yes, it's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is really, really strange. Like, we're the ones who are saying a film can have flaws, but still be really good.
You're welcome
And you're saying, nuh-uh, there's a plot hole, that means you can't like it.
Yeah, because I love Die Hard, and
Yeah, it's a great movie.
you could argue that the biggest payoffs for Die Hard are all character-based, and with Bruce Willis is like, can we allow that they do this at the time that they do it to allow Bruce Willis to be in the building? Can you allow them that convenience to let all of the important stuff happen? I'd be like, yeah, sure. But again, there's so many conversations to have, and to just say, well, that's it. You've pointed it out in enough good films, and enough films that people consider classics, that now you know the plot holes don't matter. Like, that's not how this works. I mean, again, if anything, that's just whataboutism again. You don't just point out a thing that happened in another thing and then say, okay, so it's not a thing now. It's not enough.
Seems impossible to watch movies wrong, but you're watching movies wrong.
Oh my
Die Hard is a
God.
movie about an ordinary man thrown into an...
Remember, we're the ones who get told, we're the ones saying that people are watching movies wrong.
I was about to say, yeah, he's accusing us of that when we're the ones that we're supposed to be the ones that say it.
Someone in the comment section of his video is saying that basically about you and how that's a bad thing, but he's defending the video where that thing is literally said in the video.
Well, they're not listening to the video. That's always what happens with these videos. Soul
This
Dragon
is
said,
an awful video.
what if someone can't accept like the assessment we just had about, you know, how it works logically speaking? And I'd just be like, they don't have to accept it. They can do whatever they want. But as soon as they make videos like this, where they actually make arguments, and then we can point out inconsistencies within their own arguments, and then they'll be like, well, everything's subjective, I don't accept it. We can be like, okay, I'm gonna go now. You do you, buddy. Just stay away from...
shit from the argument.
Because I've said it before, but like, people combine subjective and objective arguments into the same videos, but then they're like, no, it's all subjective. Like, he makes statements of fact, he makes thoughts, he makes feelings, he's got everything all over the place. While in my videos you'll find I try and signpost the difference. I always want to, because it's two different conversations at once. It's the difference between me and Wolf saying, yo, there's this freaking plot hole in this movie, and then Just Right goes, I feel fine about that. Like, oh, we didn't ask if you felt something about it. We wanted to know that you accept that that exists in the film. And he says, it doesn't bother me. Like, yeah, all we're looking
I
for.
heard you the first time.
We get it. We don't care about your feelings about it. We want to know that you recognize that these things exist. And,
We don't care about reader response theory. We only deal with Jared response theory.
It seems impossible to watch movies wrong, but you're watching movies wrong. Die Hard is a movie...
That might be a clip that you want.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're gonna make a note of that. That's really good to just throw in my series.
That's a legit thing that you might want to say whenever people... Because remember, this video is used as an example by people who are liking it and who are defending it and saying they love it. And then they are literally taking the exact things that he is saying and saying it is a bad thing when you do it. But they like it when he says it. Just an observation.
Yeah, we're the ones that are always told, you know, are you saying that you're not allowed to like this movie? But then he's gonna go ahead and say that we're the ones that are watching it
Yeah,
wrong.
we've never said in earnest that you are watching movies wrong. Or you're watching movies the wrong way.
I mean, isn't that just perfect that the people that accuse us of that, when that's literally nothing that any of us have ever said
I can
outside
clarify
of
it
the
for
show.
you. Because I've come across this before. This isn't the first time. H-Bomber Guy does it. He says that everything is subjective, and then he actually says in his video, anybody who plays with a shield in Dark Souls as a series is really playing it wrong. And he's very serious about this. He makes a whole video where he argues that shield gameplay is passive, it's very defensive, you're not having fun when you do that, you need to play actively. Lose the shield, start jumping and running, play the game properly. And it's the most bizarre fucking argument ever, because you're just sitting there like,
Don't tell me how
you
to
just
have
argue
fun.
that you're playing a game wrong when your whole thing is that everybody has an interest, and then he comes back with, everything is subjective, it's my perspective, it's my opinion that you're playing it wrong.
It's my opinion that you're dumb.
And so this guy would say it's his opinion that you're watching films wrong if you do it with the logic thing. And it's like, but you just said it as a matter of fact. You didn't say it as an opinion. He's like, no, all of this is an opinion. And it drives me nuts. It's the most cop-out-ish move you can ever have in writing a script.
It's very, very non-committal.
Just like every statement I make with anger, with perseverance, with assertiveness, all of it is an opinion. So I know I sound like H. Bomber Guy makes the argument at the end of his video. He says, I know I sound very authoritative sometimes, but it's just an interesting way of being convincing. He actually says that. The idea is that you breach your own values to sound like you're convincing your audience. Because, you know, people get attracted to an assertive voice. They're just like, this guy knows what he's talking about. I can feel he knows
Look
what he's
at the
talking about.
transitions. They're so styly, and he's on a riff now, and now he's on an alleyway. And look, now he's at a computer.
And it zooms in and has colors.
It zooms in. But I do want to, you know, people who thumbed up this video, I'm like, what did you like about this video so much? What was the big message that this video talked about? And I would love to see why people like this. This video is terrible. Why do you like it?
Well, this is the other side of the aisle, man. This is the people who hate our videos. Many do. They don't like the idea that you're telling people that there's some kind of scale. There's no scale for anything, okay? And it makes me wonder, it's like, what kind of conversations do you have about films? Do you go, hey, Bob, what did you think of the film? And he goes, it was good. And then he goes, what do you think? He goes, I thought it was bad. See you tomorrow, Bob. Like, we can't be conflicting our ideas because both of us are right. That's the last thing we need.
They always want to straddle the line between I want to always be right, and I can back out of a committal statement whenever I need to, so that I can't get criticized for it.
That's a huge deal. That's what I Hate Everything puts his disclaimer at the beginning for. He's like, if I say anything that's wrong, controversial, or sounds like it wasn't argued properly, it's my opinion. You can't judge me for it.
That's why I start off the video by chucking that shit in the garbage where it belongs.
Yeah, I don't know if people would have caught that as good shit, but like, because I don't. My perspective is you should never need to say it's in my opinion, blah blah blah. But you can absolutely do it. It's just that you should be able to put it forward just by saying I think or I feel. But these people don't and do say that randomly. So they're like, let me just put the catch-all at the beginning so that I cover my ass. Makes it much easier for me. So, I know it makes it much easier. So anyway.
Movie about an ordinary man thrown into an impossible situation,
guys.
who needs to rise to the occasion and persevere so that he can reunite with his estranged wife. That's the point of the
We
movie.
got the high ground,
That's what
bitch.
it's about.
Exactly, that was actually the point we were making earlier in terms of pointing out the plot hole that they could have cut the power themselves. Does that affect the payoffs of the film? The point of the script? Does it affect the story being told? Not really. But if for example, there was something that allowed the bad guys to kill John McClane with ease, and then you had like a bird flew into the window and distracted them and he ran away, that would be huge. It'd be like,
oh,
you just broke the film. You just saved his life with a random bird killing itself. Like, what the hell? And then if it was Star Wars, people would be like, oh, it was the Force.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really easy to tell the difference of how important these things are. And this is the thing, you could be like, wait, Mole, you said the Die Hard was amazing. I'd be like, well, maybe I haven't heard the argument for how this affects the entire plot. And if I do, it might change the scale, and I'm happy for that to happen. Because we don't, like, Rags, can you argue exactly why a film you haven't even seen is good? It's like, no, you need to see it first. It's a preferable thing. And it's like, I haven't seen Die Hard in, I want to say 3 years at least.
10 years. Yeah, it's been many years for me.
So like, all I remember is loving it. I haven't got much objective stuff left in my head. I've only got really the emotional reaction. So if someone told me it's actually bad, I'd be like, okay, let's hear it. And yeah, I might need more than just that.
Most of the other plot holes for Die Hard listed on the site are variations on, why didn't John McClane do this? Well, because the whole point of John McClane is that he's a normal guy who...
That's not how you counter the argument at all. Don't give up and just say, this is just a guy. That's why he does everything that he does. It's like...
See, that's what he did earlier. That's exactly what I said. You can explain away anything by saying, oh, the character just does this one thing.
You can, is it so harmful, right? Like, let's just say John McClane had a choice of picking up a pistol or, I don't know, 2 pistols. It's literally that stupid. He picks up the one instead of the 2. I could be like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. How much does it affect the plot?
I'm pretty sure he's not a normal guy, though. It's like, how many normal guys...
Isn't he he's an ex-cop, right? Or is he a current cop? I could have sworn he's not just a normal dude. I could have sworn.
If he was just like one of us, do you think any of would do half of the shit that he does in that movie.
I'm
There's
pretty
no
sure
way
he's a
on life I
detective.
think we would be able to.
I could have sworn he's a detective. I don't think he's a nobody. I don't think he's a random. John McClane was originally based on the fictional character Detective Joe Leyland.
People in the chat are saying he's a current cop.
Yeah. Again, I haven't seen the film in ages, but I'm pretty sure he's not just a random dude. And that's, yeah, so to bring it back to my point though, if he brings up to me, it doesn't make sense that John McClane cripples himself by taking one gun instead of two, and then there's a later part in the film where he runs out of ammo, let's say, I'd be like, yeah, that's an actual problem. But if he never runs out of ammo, I'd be like, well, two guns wouldn't have made a difference. Do you see the difference? Do you understand the difference?
It could have potentially been something bad, and it was a stupid decision that he made. However, it did not end up affecting the plot.
And then as someone else brings up, he decides to do a thing that just doesn't matter what's like.
How much? Shalom.
Like, that's weird. Why would anyone do that? I should be like,
It said more
doesn't affect anything. Who cares? And I think that's how he reacts to every single thing we bring up about everything. While I'm trying to say this actual like precedence for separating them instead of just going,
ain't it?
nah, they all don't matter.
Oh shit! Oh.
Makes human mistakes. If he did the perfect, most logical thing every single time, he wouldn't be the same character. He'd basically be a Vulcan, and the movie would end way earlier and be terrible.
But nobody's arguing that.
Jesus, yeah. Another straw man.
Yeah, he really likes to try to fight against these arguments no one's making.
Like, this
Really good at it.
just an easy example. John McClane has a choice to shoot one of two people. One of them has lots of guns, the other one doesn't. But the other one is the guy he hates earlier because the guy killed his wife or something. You go, he shoots the one with less guns, resulting in a fight with someone with more guns, which is illogical, but is supported by an emotional decision that is actually established. Do you understand the difference? Again, I keep saying that, but like, it just feels the need to keep saying it. It's like people have flaws.
Yeah, I think people can make emotional decisions. People can make logical decisions. Whichever way you go, it should be justified or established in some way.
Yeah, instead of just going, nah, he's just an idiot. Nah, he's just emotional. Nah, that's literally.
Your Honor, my client pleads temporary insanity.
Although it was petty, guys. That's why she put everyone in danger. She's a petty person. They established this.
She's a petty person who is this renowned general war hero that we haven't ever heard of before and don't recognize as well.
Take Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. At the climax of the story, Harry reaches the Triwizard Cup, which turns out to have been turned into a port key that transports him to Voldemort. So the whole plan hinged on Harry being the one to get to the cup.
I'll be right back, y'all. I hope y'all staying free, staying safe, staying armed, staying blessed out there.
Defend that or accept it.
Listen to Mahler and them.
I don't.
It's a video
I
called
don't
OT
know. A lot
Fad
of
number
it
2,
hinges
search from
on
5
what
years
happens to the
ago.
port key
So
after
shut
you
up about
touch it,
plot
or
holes.
did he try and set it up to where? Harry, I don't know.
While I watch this.
There's a lot of builds up because this is like the finale of a film or a
might. Who knows? You know what I kind of want to do? I've been putting it off. Because this was the game that was already saved on the PlayStation, I think. When I bought this one. I really don't remember. I thought it was, though.
That does that to you?
And I know I can go to
After
Solar
sitting in
Sun,
there for doing that
but
and being in there,
I just haven't
no,
done
more
it
than
yet.
6 hours to do my hair. Okay, well, I finished my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did some math too.
Learning math. It's easy, right?
Not the distributive problem. I forgot how to do that shit.
What?
Exactly.
It's when you have a number on the outside of parentheses.
Oh, easy peasy.
Yeah, it is easy, but like not when it gets in all those fractions and you have to add and subtract fractions and stuff.
I don't like
No, but I
fractions.
just don't
Nobody
like
does.
fractions. I don't.
Nobody likes fractions.
Who does like fractions?
Anyway, I helped you really good with the first two things we did.
You did.
She didn't know what she was doing. And I helped. And now she knows how to read inequalities.
Because my teachers didn't teach me that either.
Inequalities.
You know, like the equal and less than and greater than.
Greater than or equal to.
Yeah.
Less than.
They taught us that in elementary school. Like the Gators man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying, but she didn't know how to read it.
Talk it out.
Yeah, whatever.
She knew which way it went. She just didn't know how to read it.
Because they never
Blank
showed
is
us
greater than or
X.
equal to blank.
But when
Yeah,
it's
but then you
with
put it on a
X,
number line. So it's like x is greater than or equal to 7 and less than or equal to 10.
Yeah. So between those two.
Yeah, but sometimes. No.
Sometimes it's more difficult.
Sometimes the sign is flipped the wrong way in the beginning of the equation because by the end of it you divided it by a negative and so it's flipped the right way.
I
Okay,
forgot about that.
This is why I don't like
remember
math.
Dividing or
Shout out to my
multiplying
8th grade math
a
teacher though, because she's the best
greater
math teacher
than
I've had.
sign.
I'll give him a shout out to Miss Allison.
Do you remember doing that? I just remember being a way to talk about numbers, but not
No, we had
for
to
equations.
like solve for x. But we did it. What are you doing?
Jill.
I'm about to go watch my TV show more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. I screamed earlier.
I know, I heard you. It's scarier at night than it is during the day. Cause, especially with the monsters.
No, it's the knocking.
I know,
It's
and how
the
they be
knocking.
like looking at the window and stuff.
Out of nowhere. Like,
Woo.
no.
Oh my gosh, at the end of like almost every Smiling Friends episode, there was a jump scare. And, I was doing my hair while I was watching it, so,
What time is it? 9:45. I'm anxious to see how the audio is on this one. I might switch over, do a little One Piece or a little bit of 2K.
So, since I knew it was gonna take so long, wow, it's an 11-minute video. 6 hours will equal to 11 minutes, and about 6 hours will equal to about 11 minutes,
Hey, how do I?
time lapse wise. So we'll, so that's 1,020 minutes divided by 11. I can't do that math. Hey Siri. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, I made a mistake.
1,020, 200, I mean, divided by 11.
Hmm? You mean what?
1,200 divided by 11.
Like 120? Or what, 110?
I don't know, it didn't tell me. Oh, wait, that's not my time lapse. Oh, never mind. My time lapse is only 24 seconds. 6 hours is 24 seconds? So that means 1 hour is 4 seconds.
Want some alcohol?
I don't have any.
Oh.
It's just like,
Yeah. That's the point.
but anyways, this is the actual good part is people's reactions. Well, I only got 2 people's reactions.
Well, call more people. You're
Oh.
done now.
Yeah, I know.
What?
I was calling people to
For what?
show them I took my braids out. First person I called was Emma.
I think she like just took her own though. But I'm calling people because they are and
Give me a minute, y'all.
we're gonna get their reaction.
She immediately hung up.
Her hanging up immediately is crazy. I was gonna
Rejected. Oh, yeah, they can't see what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, there's no way.
You can tell.
I'm happy for you.
What?
I'm happy for you.
Her
But I
boyfriend's
gotta
saying
show
that.
you something.
She's 15.
Why? Look at all of it right here. Because I was tired of it. I wanted my normal hair back.
Yeah, and then she just talks about him pulling it out.
Why in the fuck is her parents letting her boyfriend spend the night?
So when are you gonna do your hair now?
Oh, that's annoying.
Another one bites the dust.
I'm gonna let you go because I just wanted to show you my hair. Bye, I love you.
She did not seem like she loved you.
I love her. She is.
2 reactions.
Okay, so
No, she's always gonna see it off the phone.
I'm gonna post 9 next actually. I was gonna post friends, but no. Girl, I love how fast you answer.
She always answers. I'm like the best friend.
But I have to show you something.
I thought she was mad at me.
What? Oh my god. What? Oh, you have like you have so much hair. I know. It looks like I have like a freaking afro, kind of. You took it all out? Yeah. See?
It doesn't look like my actual
I did
hair
it
is what
6
I'm
hours.
saying.
I started at 2 o'clock and I just finished 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm got myself late for that. That's good.
Do you want something to drink?
The first time I ever did yours was the only time it actually took me a long time, and it was because it was my first time. Ever since then, I've
I
gone
would
faster.
like something to drink, but
Hmm?
So when are you gonna do your hair now?
yeah, I'd like something to drink.
Nothing.
Me too.
Yes.
Why are you looking crazy?
See how I sit there and wait for you to say something else when I say yes?
Here we are.
And you don't, so I just am
This is
like,
Raven.
oh.
Have to
You
say
need
I'm
to
all
try.
that glad to see it
Oh,
again.
you were just on the phone for
Good luck.
1 minute
Hope
with
you can
Samaya.
figure out what's
Sorry.
going on around here.
She told you to apologize for acting crazy.
I'm sorry. You know, sitting in here for silence.
Somebody watching my stream.
Hmm?
Why do I hear it? I shouldn't hear it. I had everything turned down.
No, you don't. TV's on usually.
It doesn't need to be. I mean, in the game. Well, I just gotta turn it down. I'll have it muted.
I don't care, because she said she loved that cat last night more than me, so it doesn't shock me. It's not talking shit, it's the truth.
No, it wasn't.
I said you love that cat more than me. You said it last night, it's on recording. She did? She said she likes the cat more than me. And you don't get to talk about what was said last night because you said all kinds of mean ass shit. And I said I love you, Caleb, then Phoenix, Binks, and then Love. I said I like Phoenix more than I like you, and that still is true. You put me last in all your lists. No, I did. Besides Phoenix. And who did that? Yeah, but who causes that? Who causes me to not? Yourself. No, no. You got to be grounded. Get off the phone. You're in trouble. You're talking. So now I have to go. I love you. Don't, Mama, can you not, like, can you stop talking to me like you're somebody else? You can tell my body language I wasn't even trying to do that time. So now I'm hanging up. Okay. I was tired of her laughing at me. She always thought she might get in trouble. So I couldn't even be compassionate for her. And then I ended up being.
I'm such a good mom.
I mean, you just match my energy.
Oh.
I mean, I did scream at you first. I'm like, you do just match my energy. I mean, sometimes you don't. Sometimes I'll be calm and you'll be mad, or I'll be mad and you'll be calm. But I try and match you most of the time. Unless I'm just tired of it. So I'm like, well, if she gets to yell at me, I should get to yell at
DoorDash
her.
some beer.
You can't.
I want.
I don't think.
I'm pretty sure you can. I want something to drink too. I want like some Sprite. I was talking about Sprite this morning. What was my favorite?
I know, I heard.
Oh.
I hear everything.
Well, you know what kind of Sprite I love. A nice cold Sprite.
Sprite remix.
That's been in some kind of freezer that you get out like a gas station, Walmart, City.
Are we interrupting you?
I think Sprite remix is older than JoJo is here.
Why aren't you talking anything? Oh, okay.
What?
Are we interrupting you?
No.
I don't care if I'm interrupting. If it was super important, he probably would have made me stop talking by now. You know, let me go and get my iPad. So I'm like, Just know, like, if you're ever doing something really important, Caleb, you can tell me to not talk.
He's playing a game. How's it really important?
I know, I'm just like letting him know.
So you got the Shao Kahn outfit going on.
Cause I know one time Mama came home and I was
Come with me to Food City.
okay. Let me tell the story first.
Where are you gonna get from here, Food City?
Yingling.
Okay.
And I was coming out to tell you something really exciting and you were on the phone with someone because something had happened at your school. And I came out and I was like, Mommy, I'm never. And I just like slowly walked back into my room because like I came out like, Mama, you.
I was on the phone with Cindy.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if it was like Cindy, Lindsay, or Pam. It's one of those things.
Mm.
I haven't seen this.
It was something that had happened with your staff, I think. Oh, Lux. I can't remember. You were online.
This motherfucker sending death threats and assassins and shit. Really wants me to come
Oh,
and
where's
see him.
my debit card? It's not in my phone.
Is there a reason I would have it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I hope you have it, because otherwise I don't know where it's at.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. No, that's not it.
We went to somewhere last night.
The last thing that I've done is just paid bills, but not with
No,
my
Jack,
debit card.
we went out to eat last night. We went out and got something. We drove somewhere.
But I didn't pay.
You didn't?
Oh, Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Is it in your car?
So maybe.
It wasn't last night, it was the night before.
Oh.
But yeah, that wasn't.
Then what did we
Was
do
that last
yesterday?
night? No, it wasn't.
I wouldn't have. Yeah, I wouldn't have had it.
It was Thursday night, because I remember I was eating after a taco when I woke up at 3 a.m. So
Taco Bell was the last thing I spent money on.
So maybe you did put it down in your car somehow.
Why would I have done that? Did I get it back from him?
I don't remember, you had me putting out straws in my drinks.
Maybe it's in my car. Let's go check.
Lexington? Oh, no, it's. Yeah, baby, pull up. Hopefully we got a little bit of juice in it, be. Ain't got a little bit of juice. Alright. Hey, buddy. Shit. Oh, let's go check it out. Fucking right. Tell me you're never coming back after you done brought a bunch of killers over here. Well, they didn't really kill anything, but you know what I mean. There's a pointy-eared son of a bitch with the immaculate beard, goatee combo. Damn. Homie snuck up behind him with the quickness. There should be a temple to the Dragonborn on the continent somewhere. If there's not, boy, we need to just side with the Black Dragon and burn the rest of this shit to the ground. I got a bounty in Morthal. Raven Rock. Ooh, you selling them that steak? She talking 200 a gram though. Okay. Why is this grown ass man got a little girl's yellow dress? What else you got? Necklace. I'm just waiting to see girls' clothes, like girls' shoes or something like that, and be like, oh no. It's got a circlet too. I don't know about this guy. Straight built this dude a temple. Who built this dude a temple? I'll walk up with my helmet made of gold. Oh shit. I still don't want to do any work right now. I'm the Dragonborn. The Dragonborn doesn't need to dirty his hands. Guess I just keep moving this way. I guess that's why just reaching it was a mission. Oh shit. Alright, well. Let's have some fun with it. Had to get my hands a little dirty. I think they took off. Man, oh shit. Oh damn. There you are. Get over here. I wish there was a way I could. Alright, I guess that's close enough to what we need. So. I'm tired of seeing your face. Put this on. Give me that back. Give me it back. Oh shit. What was it that I want to give him? I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, those boots. I don't remember what they were called. Spellbreaker. We're still heading the right way, right? Yeah. Damn, if they just got back, that was fast as fuck. I don't see a welcoming committee. I was expecting if you had your own temple, you might have a little bit more manpower up here just lurking. They about to come in here screaming and shit.
No, I said I only want to. Can you drive Hell, can you drive me? I mean, I can, but I'm not going to.
What?
Babe, I can't find my debit card. I said, can you drive with 2 feet?
Yep.
Have you done it?
I do every day.
You use both of your feet when you drive?
Mm-hmm.
You use one for gas and the other one for brake?
No.
That's what I'm asking. No.
You can, but I don't know why you would.
I mean when you're driving your car, Caleb. Not the full car.
I did when I drove stick.
Yeah, when you drive stick.
No, I don't need it. So you can't find your debit card.
No.
So what did you use to buy it?
Credit card. No, I don't know where it's at. You want one of those or one of these?
This call may be monitored, recorded, and shared for quality assurance and compliance purposes. To continue, use only your keypad.
I cancel my debit card.
I am sorry. How can I help you today? You can say things like check my balance or make a payment.
I lost my debit card.
Let's try this a different way.
Let me try this a different way, bitch.
If you are calling about a debit or ATM card, press 2. For a credit card, press
Yeah, excuse me. I'm gonna be a little extra. I'm gonna be a little unorthodox here. I don't like him to know which way I'm coming from when I just completely abandon all strategy. Just leap in. Look at him. Look at him. They ain't even. Huh. I thought they were like gonna be upset with me being here. Look at this one over here. Huh. I thought if you had a temple up here, you might have been, you know, up here. See if I even have to get involved with you. Well, thank you. What was that? Delph? No, it's Freya. She's lucky.
My card was
Those
lost.
Delphine.
No. Yes.
If you think your card is permanently lost, I can get you a new card and cancel your old one. Or, if you think you might find your card, I can help you temporarily block it. Which would you like?
Forever lost.
That entry is valid.
so excited when she said that.
If you would like to place a temporary block on this card,
That entry is invalid.
if you would like to request a replacement card and permanently block the use of your card, say or press 2.
Oh, did she say that? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it did. It said entry invalid. Forever lost. No, I'm a computer man. You gotta work with me.
That's it.
I am sorry. How can I help you today?
You're done.
Thinking I check my balance on.
I don't see the halftime show.
This second? I'm not sure. Let me take this.
I don't know why you tried that. You don't have to play this stuff. You just hear like the first couple notes in this, but I'm here for it anyways.
So I'm not exactly sure what's happening now.
This is like 5 more seconds.
She kept running forward though. No, she didn't go in here by herself. Yo. This bitch is tripping. In paradise, simply look around and anything you want to.
Who's over here singing this song?
What the hell? I don't see nobody in here. I don't see nobody. Oh shit. Oh shit.
You're not going outside, Phoenix. Off the front door, bro. Back up. Let me do my thing. Okay, since you're so curious, here.
Don't you let my cat outside.
I won't. Oh, now that it's open, you don't want to go, huh? Yeah. Oh, I'm not that dumb when I realize when I stay outside, isn't it? It is that, and then, you should realize what the song is. Just wait.
You would be having so much fun in high school, man.
Yeah, but I like watching that they have Notre Dame actually in it.
I gotta go watch my shave.
Wait, I'm gonna call Smiley and tell her she needs to see the video she can fix it. It's like
I know who that is.
whoa, how'd I do that? Hold up. If you Snide, if you huh? You know, if you go down the picture, you can like push it. Okay.
And she did some of her homework.
Yeah, I did some of my
And I taught her how to do it.
and she taught me how to do it, and we're not mad at each other anymore. But I was just wondering, if you could send me the videos I made you Willa take on your phone to me. So I could show my mom. And
Damn.
she's fast to hang up too. When she thinks I'm done talking, she'll hang up. If I didn't tell him I was ready to hang up, she wouldn't have hung up. Just once she knows I'm ready to hang up, she'll leave me alone. It's now I don't know, she's ready, she's done. She really does just hang up on me. She'll be like, hold on.
Let me get that.
She'll be in the middle telling me, hold on, I'll call you back if you hang up. And I'm like, oh.
You know who was the worst at hanging up? Not hanging up, but ended phone calls?
Me.
No, my Uncle Buddy. He never said bye, love you, nothing. He would just be like, we'd be talking, and he'd be like, alright, click. Like, and sometimes it wouldn't even be alright. I'll be like, okay, I'll be over there for Thanksgiving. Okay, I can't wait to see click. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I'm so confused.
No, but I used to be really bad at Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, you don't know how to get on the phone.
I do now,
You didn't.
but I used to not be able.
Well, you didn't even know how to talk on the phone before.
Yeah. Hey, that's your name right?
Yeah, I don't know. Some of it, I don't know.
No, it's not. I'm going to the end. You just want everybody. I knew what I meant. Okay, she needs to send it to me before I find her. It is hot in this house.
Yep.
So it's not just me?
I'm hot.
You're wearing pants, aren't you? So am I. You need to put on some shorts. Oh my gosh, I thought that was right here. I'm like, how you playing a game with him? He's dead. Then I read the name. I was like,
The Sanctum.
That's the show I wanna watch.
What
is
the
that show called?
fuck?
Give me the name of my show. I've been meaning to watch the show for a while. It's like I can't remember. I don't know. What? So that was a little like Hello Kitty here. Did you see the deadhead? I don't even. Oh. I don't want to have triplets. Oh, I just want 2 kids. Because I want my kids to dress up as these superpowers and stuff.
Cute.
I want to dress up as superpowers when they can. I want to be.
Oh, Cullen, Jordan, and Olivia hung out today. That was so funny. Jordan and Olivia don't go to our school anymore, but they came and hung out with Cullen.
Well, they're gonna get married.
Jordan and Olivia.
I swear, I guess. They like the perfect. I don't know. Okay, look at this.
Okay, that bud smoking up.
That's the cutest shit ever.
Yeah, but it's not the normal screen. It's the screen that's on Skyrim.
Okay, I gotta go watch my scary TV show. Well, I say you do. I do all motherfucking business.
Split it open like a kiwi.
What'd you say?
What?
What did you say?
Said split it open like a kiwi.
Oh, you were singing the song? What, this one?
Yep.
Just gonna beat my meat to it.
Live Fiji. I was a little greasy. Like a kiwi. He wants a peace treaty. Believe me. They booted like Luigi. Fail. God, ugly God, foolish.
Y'all better be happy there wasn't a camel here because I was hitting that dance hard.
No, you wasn't.
Yes, I was, Caleb.
No, you wasn't. Y'all better be glad there wasn't a camera here so y'all didn't have to be subjected to that.
You're such a hater.
And with that being said, it ain't gonna matter because they gonna mute it because that shit's copyrighted. So it ain't gonna matter anyway.
That's true, huh?
And they might even mute this still. I don't know. Depends on where they stop it at. Finesse the porn up on your TV.
Yo.
No. Okay. So I came through this bitch right here. I guess I'm supposed to go down. How do we go down? Oh. That does not look promising. Let's keep it moving, alright? I ain't trying to be down here all day. I thought I would just be able to just show up and kill this motherfucker and walk out of here.
You wait and watch the scene. You'll see why. She's a bad person. She's mean. She's a meanie pants.
Oh, the bitch said a meanie pants.
Yes, I said she's a meanie pants. Oh, that was gonna hurt, but I didn't want to hurt your face, but I wanted to hurt your face.
Gross.
That's why I was showing move you away, but then it was an instant burp anyway.
Gross.
We're okay. Very bad. Why are y'all so interested in the front door? Hmm? Yeah. Be my guest. Oh. That's what I thought. Stop acting like you want to go out there. Hey! 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 Excuse me. Hey! 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 I only have 20 hours to do all of those levels that aren't coded again. So you best believe I'm gonna speed through this.
Good luck with that.
I know it's not gonna be easy with the state I'm about to be in, but I'm gonna keep pushing. upload no video. I'm just gonna do not do it. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Man, that song gets me like, I don't know, like pumping.
You ain't heard that song?
No, I haven't. Duh. Why else would I have been playing this song?
It'll just come down to me beating your ass. Simple as that. You can talk all you'd like, but that's what it's gonna come down to.
For him?
Yep, and all of his peoples with their tentacles dangling and suction cupping in, vaginal face hole looking just weird. While he gets on a dragon and takes off. Traitor. Well, we're 3 hours in. I really only started trying to converse in the last hour or so, but
What do you mean converse?
to talk to the crowd, to the audience, to the people.
That's right. Isn't that crazy you just now started doing that? It seems like you don't care about your fans, Caleb. What do you have to say to those accusations?
Well, it took about 2 hours for my audience to trickle in. So now that my audience is here, I don't see why there's anything wrong with letting it slowly build. The time that it takes for the audience to trickle in, as Twitch so aptly put it. That was their own suggestion. And since all I know to do is to just research what works for other people and what other people have done, and a lot of people that do longer streams, it will be about 2 hours that they'll just talk about what they want to talk about, set things up, but not actually get into the content itself until
Every bodily function is going on right now.
until later.
Huh?
Oh, that was you.
No, it wasn't. I burped, but my burps don't sound like that.
Y'all can tell based on the trajectory of the fucking what the audio waves into the microphone, where it's coming from through your speakers, and you can tell plainly where that flatulence and that fuck, I don't remember the other word for burp, but that burp came from somewhere else.
You.
Where'd that bitch go? That bitch just ran off. Okay, here she goes. Where is she? What is happening right now? Accompany her to Skull Village. Okay, yeah, so I should just be a gentleman, right? I could probably shout her back to her village from here, since she doesn't want to move. Blow her across the map. No, that wouldn't be nice. Okay, there you go. Let's keep it moving. I'll watch you back, this far at least. That's all. And then once she goes to sleep, we can sneak into her house and
what?
I figured I'd just let everybody's imaginations finish that. It'd be worse than anything I was about to say. Damn, Jordan.
Caleb.
Did you step on a frog?
What did you have to eat tonight, Caleb? Is my question.
I had some cheesy mac with
That's
sausage.
what.
So it was really cheesy
See, I haven't
sausage.
even had
Cheese
anything
sauce.
since lunchtime, so I know it's not me. Besides spicy
Whoa.
Doritos.
This bitch Jane eating over here.
Oh my god.
Y'all pray for her.
I had some spicy Doritos over there while I was. Where's my iPad? There's proof. You see me eating them in the time. Yeah, hold on.
She's over here faking videos of her eating, so she's got evidence of it.
Be quiet, Taylor. Stop talking about me when I can't defend myself. When I'm not right next to you, what you say.
She can defend herself just fine.
Get out of me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
What's happening here? Look at homie just staring. Can I get around? What's homie doing? Look at him. Why is he faced like so close to homie? Like, I don't get it. Nobody else is that close staring at someone's face. But he's over here and he looks like a giant. If he's on his knees?
That's crazy.
Wait a minute. Look at his feet. What are those? Those are a tiny person's feet. Or they're through the ground.
Well, yeah, duh. You can tell.
What the fuck?
Okay, you
Look
wanna
at
watch
it.
my
Look at
time?
him. Look at me.
Oh,
Look at
why
him.
are you looking at you like that?
I'm about to kill all of y'all.
Do it.
No. I haven't been here before. I don't know what's happening, so I should probably just play the game.
Here, watch my time lapse.
Why the hell would I watch this? I watched it in real life.
No, you didn't.
What are those roaches on the ceiling? Oh, okay.
Roaches, that's a piece of tape.
That's tape. Dan, what did you take a nap?
No?
Oh, just
When I leave my
disappeared.
room, yeah.
Oh,
Normally when I would come out and see you.
whose phone was that?
Mine. I was recording on my iPad. I was listening to music. See? There's my phone.
So then, who was holding it while it was up?
My controller that you cannot see.
And it was scrolling.
I had it on Spotify.
Oh, I see.
And I have the lyrics
I
up
don't know
so
why
it
I love
automatically sticks with the lyrics. Here, I'll show you. I'll turn it down so you don't get copyrighted for whatever song plays. But
It's gonna happen. Anyway, well, maybe. I need to. And actually, that. An hour of that 2 hours was on the stream that cut off before I. So I've really been off for 2 hours since. I am indeed Dragonborn. Marowak, the Pokemon? Mirak did claim to be Dragonborn. What should I tell him? You know that's the case. What does it mean if we're both Dragonborn? I thought there was only supposed to be one of us. You stupid bass. Storn Cragstrider. As if any of that's supposed to even resemble a name. Strider, I guess. Alright, old man, what do you want me to do? You might get another beer.
I got you. You want a black and tan?
Sure. Did he say he was going to teach me, are these the graybeards of the, oh shit, I'm glad I didn't fuck with this motherfucker.
It's bad, but you know who I want to call?
Who do you want to call? Jacob?
No.
Um,
I'm not going to say
Lamar.
it out loud.
Lamar?
I'm not going to say it. No, not him.
Isaiah?
No.
Kobe?
Don't say it out loud. I swear, Caleb, I will smack you right now.
What do you think he's watching?
No, but he might watch it one day. Or his friends, and then be like, oh, said she wanted to call you.
Why would they?
I don't know. Should I call him? I want to show him my hand.
If you want to. I mean, if you're not dating anybody, even though you're holding hands with motherfuckers. But the Jewish boy might not matter. He might not care.
Oh my god, imagine he doesn't answer. I was gonna say he might. Hello? 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 One of my friends, Mom. Sorry, I'm not so nosy. Anyways, I was calling you because I took out my hair and I was calling on my, on my people to show them my hair.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Which is I was gonna keep it up for the rest of my life. Good. I'm gonna take you outside with me. We're gonna leave Caleb in the stream.
She's talking to the Jewish one. His name really is just Jude, but I don't know why she calls him the Jewish one. I don't know where that came from. Surely wasn't I. Damn. Fall into the fucking river. Guess I need to be on this side to go up. You done?
Huh?
You done?
Yes. That was too weird. Too awkward.
What?
Because he was like, I was like, how have you been? He's like, I've not been. I was like, oh.
He said he has not been?
Yeah, like he's not been.
Oh.
And he was like, let's go talk to Austin, which is like his best friend. And I was like, no.
Why
So
not?
I just kind of hung up. Because I don't know how to properly tell someone I get off, honestly. Oh, that was my rap.
So she's just a rude person, y'all.
I'm not a... Okay, let me not say that because that'd be a lie. I can be rude. But I'm trying not to be because I'm trying to block your face and I feel like I'm bad. So that shows I can be nice.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, that's the key thing sometimes.
That's a dragon. Okay. Well, this will be interesting.
You got this, Caleb. Don't you worry. You know who I want to call next?
Who's that? Oh, Lamar. Might as well come.
Oh wait, that's a FaceTime one. Not on. I need actual FaceTime.
Damn. He's gonna burn my ass to death.
I swear, I I know myself. This actually won't be okay. I hope he doesn't answer. I really hope he doesn't.
So why wouldn't you just hang up?
No, because I've already done it now. Now we go through with it, but I hope he doesn't answer. Whew.
He's busy.
That's fine.
Luckily.
Well, I see him on text and be like, what you call me? Be like,
No idea.
like, I didn't call you. I don't know what you're on, brother.
I know what you was smoking.
Be like, it's right here, Jordan. Be like, that ain't me. Deny. So mama says.
Fucking trying to knock me off the mountain. Shit.
And it takes someone come around to show you she's a tear of my heart.
Wait, will it mute it while it's live?
No.
Oh, so you can get a free show.
Hell no. But well, I don't know. Maybe it does. If I can find out.
Excuse me. There's only 5% in here.
There's only what?
5%.
Yeah.
Man, how much is one of these? Does it even say?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe it says on the
Box. I mean, it has to. It's not in the bottle. Pressure. What pressure? I love that interview. Park fans. should try it, John. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, let's try it, John.
I'm gonna kill you.
Let's try it, John.
I'm not saying I hate you. I'm saying I'll kill you. So I'm like, kill me, John? Really? It's time to eat our veggies. Caleb, it's time to eat our veggies.
What? What?
It's time to eat our veggies.
I already ate my veg.
Just wait. Look.
So do the veggie dance.
I ate my veggies on Wednesday. Oh, you were calling me. Tell me.
Sorgi? Sorgi? Okay, fuck out of here.
Yo.
I think I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna switch over to One Piece. I do like what I'm seeing here in Soul Sign, but
Hey, come here, you. Yes.
but we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, and then we'll jump on in a little bit, play some One Piece. See if I can get some peace and quiet while I stream. And I'm down it's gonna happen, but we'll see.
He's so mean. Here, meow to the mic. Thank you. See, at least he listens. No, we're not there.
So yeah, I'm chilling, but we are gonna switch games, so it's gonna end the broadcast.